waste your breath on a traitor. Let's finish him off.
Just you have a try. You want any match for me, you dog?
Son of a bitch!
Hi, this is Michael Buffer, and let's get ready for EJ Boxing Live. Take them off if you know the words. Come on.
Yo, what's going on, EJ? What's going on, people? What's going on YouTube? EJ Boxing Live is back, bro. What's going on, brother? It's been a minute, man. How's everyone doing? Hope everyone's blessed. Hope everyone's having a decent New Year's. Conor Benn in controversy. Shout out to my man Rob G. EJ, long time. Looking forward, to this. Yeah. What he saying? Yeah, he was lost without Eddie Hearn. Oh yeah, like a he looked like he was, man. He looked like he was. I got a poll out there. Make sure you guys come in, press the like button. I appreciate it. My man, oh yeah, we got Saj, my man Saj. What's up, Saj? Saj just jumped in there as well. So we got a poll out here. Conor Benn should talk to the British Border Control. Yes, 75%, 25% people that don't care. The reason why I say that you should talk to the British Border Control, because end of the day, if you're gonna get your license, you're gonna have to go do that. That's what you're gonna do if you want to get your license back, right? So there's my man Saj. What's up, Saj? What's going on? Hey, Saj, you want to jump in? I'll put the link in. You can jump in. Saj, you just came in. I'll put the link in the Let me put the link in there. You can just jump in if you want to. See what you have to say about this situation before I start putting my evidence out. You know what I'm saying? There it is. If you press the link, so I don't know if you did it before. Press the link, follow the procedures, and you are in the live EJ Boxing Live here on the show. So yeah, my man Saj, yeah, check him out. Okay, all right, cool. All right, cool. There you go. I don't know if you did it before. Just follow the thing. You don't have to be on the camera. You could just press the camera off if you don't want it. So and that's it. All right, let's get exhibit A. Let's go to my man Dominic Ingle. We're gonna go to him first, right? Let's see what he has to say about the situation.
There's no point in me showing it to them because it won't prove me in any way. And then he further on said that the board had filed 7 charges against him, 2 of which were one's wanting the fight to go ahead, and the second one was not letting Chris Eubank Jr. know about the failed test. What do you make of that? Well, you as an athlete, you have to make the border control aware of anything, a medical condition, if you've been knocked out in sparring, if you've had any medication, not bad medication, but any medication, or you've got any illness. There's fighters I've had who end up being diagnosed with epilepsy, or they've had a query on the brain scan. You've got to give all this kind of medical information to the board, and if you don't, it's misconduct because it's all in the rules and regulations. So, not surprised, he's failed a drug test, and obviously if it was a UCAD one, they would have informed the board, but this was a one by VADA, but he was still a British Board of Control fighter. So, but then you would think that, with Eddie being the promoter, he'd be up on a misconduct charge. He should have informed the board. It's not one rule for, if you're a British Boxing Board of Control license holder, we're all in the same boat. Managers, boxers, promoters, you have to inform them. So, I'm not surprised upon a misconduct. And I've been upon misconducts loads of times, from shouting in the corner and, not doing as I'm told and objecting to certain things. Loads of times. I've probably been upon misconduct 4 or 5 times. I had fines of thousands of pounds. But I didn't chuck in my license. I got my wrist slapped. I had to pay money and I carried on. So, if he wants to box in Britain again, he's got to face the border control. And if they're not going to clear him, at least put the information there, put his case forward. If they don't accept, that's fair enough. That's his explanation. Just because they don't accept it doesn't mean
it didn't happen that way. It's just that they found it not acceptable. But some people might read that because it'll be available to everybody. When he puts that to the Board of Control, it will go on UCAD's website and the general public can see it. And you can make your own mind up about it.
One of the things he said about that, because again, Piers Morgan was pressing on him showing that report to the boxing board, and the two things he said was he won't do it because of his pride, and he has no plans of fighting in Britain anytime soon. So if you think of it from his point of view, he feels like the board and everyone's kind of being against him. Do you think that's a good enough reason just to avoid showing that report to them?
Every fighter or athlete who fails a drug test thinks everybody's against him. It's like, well, yeah, it's understandable because you failed a drug test. That's what you are. That's what happens unless you can give a good reason. And they'll accept a good reason. You'll still get a slap on the wrist for 6 months, even if they accept your good reason. There's loads of cases on the UCAD website, old cases, retrospective cases, everything. There's loads, and it gives you the full breakdown, the procedure. He
also said, Dom, on the back end of that, he says, I don't know why, but they've got it in for me. There's a vendetta against me. And then he said, I've been proven innocent. And then Piers Morgan replied to that saying, no, you haven't been proven innocent. They said there was no conclusive evidence.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's a good thing to say that they've got a vendetta. Why? What? He's only been good for British boxing, realistically, till this point. So why, why would you have anything against him,
Well, on that, we might also jump into the show because we got guests. Saj just came back in. On that, we got Saj, you back there. There you go. How you doing? You right? I think you have to press take off the no, you're not on mute. Saj, you there? I can't hear you, bro. So I think your volume's not there, bro. Your volumes has disappeared. Well, Saj is gonna sort out his audio issues. Hopefully, you can speak. I can see you there. I saw his issues, and that was Dominic Ingle, and Conor Benn thinks the British board are against him, for whatever reason. I don't think they're against him. I think they're against Eddie Hearn. I think they're against Eddie Hearn under Frank Warren. Frank Warren being behind it in terms of trying to knock Eddie Hearn off. Eddie Hearn was the top promoter in England, and Frank Warren has risen from the ashes like the phoenix. Him and Bob Aaron they've took over literally, and they're pushing Eddie Hearn out. And the number one thing you push someone out is disqualify their fighter. Now, if the fighter wasn't doing them drug testing, drug cheating, then they wouldn't have to be disqualified. I mean, it's out of order. Like, in the day, you've been found for drugs, and you should accept the findings. He doesn't accept the finding. He can't understand it. He's acting like Dillian White, actually. Dillian White actually didn't accept the finding. He couldn't believe what's happened. And he had a small, I don't know what's happening with broadcast. Don't work properly. Okay, never mind. It's all right. Don't worry about it, Sajid. You can check the show. Don't worry about it. It's okay. It does happen, and you have to test it out eventually. You'll see yourself when you're speaking. You can see on the microphone it works. Don't worry about it, Sajid. It's cool. So my thing is, maybe I'm being a bit conspiracy theorist with this at the minute, but I feel like I think a lot of this is to do with Eddie Hearn when he was up top and he was mocking Frank Warren. He was at the top of the game, and Conor AJ's been knocked off in retrospect and he's on the zone. And he's rebuilding his career, and then Hearn's looking for the number one star, and he's trying to find a new star in Conor Benn, and it looked like it was going that way. Conor Benn was looking like he's gonna make the fight, and I think the Pacquiao fight would do some numbers. I don't know if he'll beat Pacquiao, but Pacquiao's another one's been done for drug testing. I think Conor Benn, if he fights in America or wherever he fights, he has the possibility of losing. He has. And the thing is he taking drugs? Did he take drugs to enhance his performance? I don't think so, because most of the opponents, they were off for a year or 2 year layout. Everyone's like, they've never been knocked out like that before. But I think it was just I think they put the opponents in the right timing for Conor Benn. But then everyone's like, hold a minute, he's struggling against journeymen, and all of a sudden he's having like, well, the journeyman he fights actively, they're actually more active than Conor Benn's opponents, and this. We can share the screen on this one. Let's have a look at his opponent. So I feel like but he has been. The fact of the matter is there has been stuff in his system that he's not accepting. He's not accepting it. Okay, what we got here? It just comes across as so bizarre to me. Yeah, exactly. Oh, what's up, Lossie? You want to jump in as well? Remind me of the case, yeah, around the sprint of Dennis Mitchell fell drug system a few years back. Yeah. I feel more lately. I think someone is trying to take down Eddie Hearn's top stars. It could be Sag. Driving, but listening in, bro. No worries, Lossie. Nice one. If you ain't know, check out Lossie's channel. He's a good guy. Lossie D Punch Out TV. Make sure you subscribe to his channel. He's a good dude as well. I'll put it up on the screen actually. Yeah, make sure you guys subscribe to it. No, I feel like if you're gonna cripple a top promoter, you have to take out his top star. And Eddie Hearn, the reason why Eddie Hearn's squealing because he hasn't got no stars. Dillian White, he had an okay performance the other day. Okay. And the next year, Dillian White against Oscar Rivas. Then all of a sudden he got thrown in that drug situation as well. Don't you think? If you look at the situation, people don't forget. I don't really forget. Look how Dillian White reacted to Oscar Rivas. No, I can't believe it. I never took nothing. And you know the thing is, yeah. You know the funny thing about it? Maybe they didn't. Maybe okay, the B. Where's the why we can get the B? We never got the B sample from Dillian White. Why we never got the B sample? We got an A sample waiting for the B. So everyone knew the A sample was the same as the B sample. But Dillian White was off for a while, near enough a year. I think the British board might have did something underhand because the British board they govern their own self. If they're going to give you a suspension, no one knows about it. This is the thing about Conor Benn. Why I don't know why he's making up so much noise because when this thing went down, they could have been very discreet about look, we're going to give you a ban, sit down for about 6 months, and then you come back and just let it cool down. They could have did that, but all this noise about you're going to sue the British Ball Control and the WBC has found you innocent. No, they haven't. They haven't. Let's hear from, we was just listening to Dominic Ingle. Let's go back to Dominic Ingle. Let's hear what you say. We'll finish him off and then we'll go to Simon Jordan and Thingy White as well. We're going to go to them. All right.
For what reason? It's not, you could see in this position, whether I should say any of this or not, you could say, well, is it because I'm black? Is it, or am I gay? Or am I transgender? Or this, whatever. What reason? You're just a boxer like everybody else. Why would anybody particularly have it in for you? For what reason? It'd be like Billy Joe saying they got it in for me because I'm a traveller. It's like, it's not the reason why. Nobody's got it in for you.
Could it be because of the history with the dad?
Well, there was a fantastic British boxer and everybody loved him. All right, he might have given his license up, but the board don't care. They're not going to, we're going to have this vendetta against Conor Benn because his dad gave him his. It didn't matter to them because the years that Nigel Benn was boxing, he was a great advocate for the game, tremendous fights.
Let's get it right. Nigel Benn and that British board, this is what people don't understand because they keep inflating it like he got done for drugs. Nigel Benn, my all-time favorite fighter, right? The reason why he had problem with the British board is because they wouldn't sanction the WBO when he beat Doug DeWitt. And there was a problem with there, and so that was the really issue about that situation. But funny enough, when Eubank got it, they they eventually sanctioned it, so that was a problem with it. And I think they wanted to do some, I don't know. They said that after the Jeremy McLennan fight, they wanted drug testing and whatever. But he obviously he fainted, so he was in hospital. Now whether he done drug, if you're fainting from exhaustion in a fight where you nearly got killed, that was savage, that fight there. There was no, people say he took drugs. How can you take drugs? Don't protect your chin, bruv. It don't protect your chin. Nigel Benn is a gritty, hard fighter. He'll come off the canvas and then knock you out. That's how he does in his career. And people implying that the guy who implying that his drug is the guy that Jeremy McLennan, he had blood on his shoe. That's madness. So Nigel Benn had a problem with the British Board of Control because they didn't sanction the WBO world title. That is it. Nothing to do with no drugs thing. Nothing to do with no drugs challenge. The British board, I've never come out with a thing that Nigel Benn didn't want to take no drug testing. That's never come out. That's an absolute lie. The problem with Nigel Benn is that he done his hard work in America. He came over to show his world title. They didn't recognize the WBO as a world title for years. That's what it was. That was the problem, and they eventually got over that, as we've seen. So that's the problem, right? So people talking about Nigel Benn and his drug allegation, that's bullshit. Nigel Benn almost got KO. Exactly in the first round against there. But then, yeah, exactly. Drug, what? No drug's gonna save your chin, bruv. No drugs gonna save your chin. There's many fighters had drugs in their system and they got smashed to bits, bruv. Nigel Benn is a tough, gritty guy. You don't need drugs to push him to the next level. Nigel Benn was a hungry guy. He had a lot of anger issues when he was younger. His brother got killed in a racial incident. Not too sure in a party. and he went to the army, and he was just a wild guy. And Conor Benn's pretty wild as well. He's got mad tattoos all over him. And I met Conor. I've interviewed Conor many a times, loads of times. I've interviewed Conor. I should actually pull up one of my interviews, actually, you know. My interviews with me and Conor when he's talking Spanish, you know. Conor's a nice guy, bro. He's a nice guy. He's very passionate, very caring, and he's loyal in that. But so this thing, he's being told by certain people to go on this way. And it's coming across really bad, but he doesn't care at this point, you know. He's put the blinders on. He's not really caring about the British public. He's acting like a spoiled kid to me. And even his dad can't tell him what to do. His dad really would say he would give the license, go to the give your fine, and he don't want to do it. The British Border Control eventually had to sanction WBO, exactly WBO, because the money and exactly is too much. Exactly, exceptionally the British promoters developing good relations with the WBO. Exactly, that was it. There's no issue with Nigel Benn ever. Launched there. You're hearing us, people saying Nigel Benn was on drugs. That is laugh. He's never been proven with that. With what? So never. So I don't know why they're talking about. And with Conor Benn, I feel maybe if this is true or not, but there was stuff in his system. And if there's this stuff in your system, you know, postpone the fight. The problem was Eddie Hearn saying, no, we want this fight to still continue. I was like, why can you want the fight? See, the problem I ain't got on Conor, you know. See, Conor's putting himself out there. That's what Eddie Hearn wouldn't put himself appointment. Conor's a brave guy, a fighter who put himself out there. Eddie Hearn advised him to go out there, and say that, bruv, like, we still want to go ahead with the fight. And Eubank was all right, cool. If you still want to go with that, I'm still gonna, because the way Conor and Eubank Jr. was thinking, I'm still gonna beat him. I don't care what he's gonna say. I'm gonna beat him anyway. I could be 50%. I don't care what he's got in his body. I would have still beat him. Right? That's the way Eubank was thinking. That's a fighter's mentality. But everyone else was like, hold on a minute, you got drugs in your system. You still want to fight? That's where it was messed up. And I think Conor's like, Eddie Hearn told him, what's going on? We got money on the table. He goes, nah, don't worry. We're still gonna go ahead. Eddie Hearn still wanted to push the fight. He's the bruv. And the reason why, again, it comes down to his biggest stars. You know, Conor Benn, if back in the day, he was on the back end of stars. He was just an up-and-coming young star. Up-and-coming, you know, he's got Nigel Benn's name, this, the other. He had plenty of stars. Kell Brook, who else here? He had loads of stars like Anthony Joshua, you know, Dillian White, all these guys in front of him, right? Conor was the last one. Now you look at Eddie Hearn's stable, it's thin. Nothing. And he's like, bruv, we needed this. Eddie Hearn needed Conor Benn to have this fight so it can do good for the zone and good for Eddie Hearn and good for money. You know, whether who won or not, it would have been good pay-per-views. Now, since that fight happened, the zone have put their prices up because they lost money. I'm no longer a DAZN subscriber. I don't, and they try to say £10 a month, but they try to lock me into a contract, which, I mean, they didn't have to lock me in because I was paying, because they locked you in the contract, so you have to pay. So there was no point where you could even leave, like, because, you know, I was paying my money anyway. I was paying $7.99. They put it to 10. I didn't mind paying 10, but then they're telling me that I have to pay for the 12 months. I said, no. You ain't telling me nothing, bruh. You ain't Sky. Even, you know, Sky don't ain't got no contract like that. Anytime a Sky, you could, with Sky Sports, you could just take out. Why are you telling me I have to stay? That's, you know, they're desperate. Yeah. Are we saying? It's people who advertise. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Eddie Hearn. He's the wrong one. He's the wrong one. I remember the whole thing going. I was looking at Eddie Hearn. I can't believe you're trying to have this fight happen, and you know this kid has got drugs in, and that's Eddie Hearn. Yeah, laughing when he heard it. Yeah, I in my mind I was like, okay, you know that's it. To me, that's a wrong one. That's a straight wrong one. If you find that anyone's got that sort of thing in the system, no. Hell no, you don't want that stuff to go down. What if he gets hurt or someone else gets hurt? You know, it's long. You know what I mean? Or maybe you make the fight and tell them both of them got drugs in their system, they should fight. But what precedent are we setting? You know? So basically that's where I'm coming from, you know. Let me hear the rest of Dominic.
He generated a lot of money for the Boxing Border Control. If you disagree with loads of their decisions, what they've had against me, they've had me bent over barrel sometimes. But I wanted to be in the boxing scene, and I wanted to train fighters, and I wanted to have a British Boxing Control license. And just because I didn't like what they did or whatever, I had to put up with it because that's the rules. I didn't particularly even agree with the rules, but in order for me to operate training fighters, that's the organisation I'm in. And whether I like the rules or I don't like them rules, in fact, I'm going to do my own thing. Well, you can't go and do your own thing. I could go to America and do it, but I live in England. So just because I disagree with the rules doesn't mean that their rules are wrong. I think they do a lot of things wrong, the Border Control. But I've had a license for 30 odd years. So, and I've never given up my license. They've tried to take my license off me a few times, but I've still paid my fee every year and had to pay fines and do courses just to maintain my license to make a living. And that's what he's having to do as a boxer. He's having to follow the rules. But what he's not doing, what he's trying to do is get around the rules. And, you know, you'll get around them a little bit. Like I got around a few rules and regulations with a bit of a slap on the hand. And then sometimes I got massive fines and I had to pay it. And I didn't say, I'm not paying that because I don't agree with it, because I've just been cutting off my own nose to spite my face. I had to pay the fines to carry on working.
And just wrapping up a couple of things, you know, the public perception. We saw a lot of boxers, people in boxing that have been tweeting last night, and there's a couple that I've picked out. You know, Michael Conlon put something out saying, just watch the interview, so many questions, still he failed 2 tests, both contaminated, but his pride is stopping the evidence, question mark. And then he said, if anything, I'm more convinced he cheated. Either way, if a banned substance is in your system, you should be banned. You know, Sonny Edwards has had a few things to say as well. So the public perception from the boxing, from what I saw, was pretty negative. You know, where do you stand with it from what you know so far?
I don't think it really matters where I stand. I'll say is this: Dillian White, 2 years, he did it. Tyson Fury, 2 years, he did it. Kid Gallagher, 2 years, you know, he did it. Meaning, he did it. They did the time. They did the 2 years. There'll be other fighters who've done the time and come back, just and big fighters, and got on with their careers. It's one of those things in the game of boxing, you know, whether it's supplements, intentional, whatever it is, there's a procedure. And Tyson Fury had to go through it. Gallard went through it. Dillian White went through it. There'll be others, too many to mention probably. And then there's ones who try and get around it. Canelo, 6 months for clenbuterol. It should have been 2 years. He got around it because he's worth millions. To promote, he's worth millions. Conor Benn is probably worth a few quid if you can promote him. So, to be honest, it's all a bit of a storm in a teacup. Clomiphene for it is probably a waste of time. It's a masking agent, meaning you've been using testosterone. That's what it means. That's why you're going to get done for it. Because as an item on its own, it's probably not even a performance enhancer, even though people like to say, you know, it gives you massive benefits. You know, I don't particularly think it does from what I've read. But the thing is with Conor Benn is he's in the firing line and he's trying to get out of it. And that's the game he's in. So if you can't prove yourself innocent, you're going to have to take the slap on the wrist, take the ban, do what you need to do. Because the longer this goes on, all it does is just discredits everybody who's trying to clear his name. Because anybody looking from the outside, looking at this, you know, as innocent bystanders, will think, just wrong this. Do you understand? He's like, he's got the information to pass on to clear his name. He don't want to do it. Well, fair enough, then you just have to have the ban then, aren't you? That's it. But let's just see where this is in 3. You know, I can remember telling you,
and the Fight Doctor is in the building. Fight Doctor.
Fight Doctor's in the house from Rick James status as always.
Yo, how you doing, my friend? You checked the interview out?
I did.
Go ahead. Tell us your findings.
I think Piers Morgan talks too much and is rude. That's the first thing I walked away from that. With that, okay. Sometimes you need to just shut up and let people answer the stupid question, okay? So, second thing is, after watching the interview, I would honestly like to sympathize with Conor Benn. I would honestly like to believe him. But at the same time, apparently he's drafted some document which is supposed to have evidence to exonerate him of any wrongdoing, and he refuses to release the evidence to the British Boxing Board of Control. So, like, I don't get it. If you're innocent and you say you're innocent and you've, you know, created a document that details why you're innocent, and yet you refuse to release this document to the people who are accusing you of wrongdoing. That doesn't make any sense. So, I honestly, I don't know what to think.
Yep. Well, all I have to say about all I have to say about this situation when I saw the interview, I said when I heard him come out with the statement that they, you know, Piers Morgan asked him, why don't you just release the findings to the British Board of Control? He said, no, it's my pride. So that's what this is about. It's his pride, you know, his ego. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, and you know, ego will get you in trouble because really and truly. And the thing is about his findings, if he feels innocent, you should put it to the British control. I just listened to Dominic Ingle, and he's trying to say that the maximum ban, Dillian White was on a ban. See, no one talks about Dillian was actually banned. And Dillian was banned for 2 years. So Tyson Fury was banned for 2 years. These are the things he said. But you see the British Board of Control, they're quite discreet when they banned you. And this is the thing about Conor Benn. Whatever would have happened with Conor Benn, he wouldn't have been out there in the public eye. But because Conor's squealing like a little kid, a sport brat, that's why everyone knows about these things, you know? Because really and truly, when someone's found out with drugs in their system, it's been put out there, right? The first thing you should do is hold your hand up. We're not going to go forward this fight. Apologize to all the fans, and we keep it moving, and then let the British Bull do what they got to do. Keep it moving. Your career continues, or whatever. The fact of the matter, Eddie Hearn actually came out and said we're still going to go, even though we've heard about this drug table. The British Bull haven't made a ruling yet, so we're still going to go ahead with the fight. The fact that they were willing to go ahead with the fight after finding of drug testing is absolutely scandalous. And this is why people are adding me against what Conor Benn is saying. The fact that I mean now we've heard you drug tested 2 different times, but you actually wanted to go ahead with the fight. I mean, in fact, what do you think about a fighter who actually has found there's drugs in his system and wanted to go ahead with the fight? What's your take on that?
So my question is, how do you proceed with a fight when somebody drops dirty? Like, when somebody drops dirty, in my mind, that automatically means everything is put on hold.
Yes.
Until an investigation can be conducted and we can figure out what's going on. But if you're going to schedule a fight, and if you're going to have drug testing, and if during the lead up to the fight somebody pops dirty and you go ahead with business as usual, what's the point of having drug testing? If it's not going to have any teeth, if it's not going to interrupt the process of getting to fight night, then what's the point of it? I don't get it. So that seems kind of stupid, and I'm not quite sure, whose idea it would be to proceed with the fight when somebody drops dirty, because that doesn't make any sense. So that's stupid.
But that's what he wanted to do. And you remember the Dillian White situation, everyone went with the B sample. Then when everyone came out with, the A sample is the same as the B sample, because it's the same sample, you just put it into another thing. And with Dillian White, everyone would say, what's the B sample? Everyone's waiting for the B sample, but everyone knew he already got a ban. Now that's what Dominic just said. He just said Dillian White had a ban. Did you know Dillian White had a ban, Fight Doctor? Did you know he was banned for 2 years?
I had no idea.
Yeah, that's what he just said there. So this is the inside information came out that the British Board of Control, when you have drug testing in your system, the maximum ban they can imply is 2 years of your thing. So I need to go on Dillian White's box rec, because I remember the Oscar Rivas fight, and he didn't. And let me see how long he didn't fight for. Was it 2 years? I don't think it was 2 years. And let's talk about Tyson Fury after. I think it was Vladimir. It was Vladimir, right? I think Vladimir interested.
It was the fight before the Vladimir, the Klitschko fight. Yes.
Before or after? The Vladimir was his last fight. He got banned after that Vladimir fight, right?
Wait, you talking about Fury? You talking about
Yeah, Fury. Yeah, Fury.
Yes. So.
All right.
So from what I understand, he popped dirty in the leading up to the fight that preceded the Klitschko fight. And I'm assuming he was, yeah. And then I'm assuming the ban was, he actually got banned, I guess, in those 2 years after the Klitschko fight. So I have to go back and check. So I'm not sure on the chronology.
Okay. Well, I'm looking on Oscar Rivas fight was in Oscar Rivas fight. It's not. That's Dillian White's not. Wasn't banned for a year, man. He wasn't banned for 2 years. So I don't know what my man was talking about, because he fought, unless he fought on a different license. Actually, he fought in Dubai. Oh yeah, he fought in Dubai. I'm looking now. So Dillian White went to that's because the Marius Wack fight was in Dubai. See, this is how Eddie Hearn got over it. He took Dillian White to another country. So he fought in he fought in Dubai, innit? Was it Dubai or Bahrain, whatever it is? He fought him over there. Then in 2000 and how many months is that then? About a year, almost a year. Then he fought Povetkin. That's when the lockout was happening. So maybe the British board needed some money. So they probably pushed forward the ban because they needed some money. That was one in Eddie Hearn's garden. So then they probably put him back in there. So that's when he came back and fought in England on British shores. So that's from 2019 to 2000. Yeah, okay. All right. So all right, let me go to Tyson Fury now. Let me go Tyson Fury. We see after the Klitschko because his last fight was Klitschko. He got 4. All right. So okay, he fought Sefafari. Okay, I think they found that drug find on that one. But that's why he went to Germany. That's why that fight was in Germany. So he might have got banned after the Sefafari fight. They might have banned him. And then that's why he had that fight in Germany, which is not on the British shores. But he might have a British license there. And then, no, actually, I don't know if they said he got banned. Dominic, I don't know what he said. He got banned for 2 years because after that he fought Hammer. And then he fought Chisora. So after... I don't know. What am I talking about? Is it this way? I'm going the wrong way, actually. Vladimir Klitschko. Yeah, you're right. You know. Yes. I got it. So he 2015, right, was the Vladimir, and the Hammer fight. He fought Hammer before that, and then he didn't fight until 2018. Okay, yeah, he did get banned. Wow. So that's quite. What's it? 16, 17, 18. Yeah, that's like 2 years. Yep, 2 years.
Yeah, so that's really the only way, a good way to explain the time off was he was banned.
Yeah, yes. And then let's go to the Oscar Rivas. He fought after, that's why he fought in Dubai. See, this is what I think Conor Benn might do. They might fight him abroad. Why? And this is what they should have did. They should have said, okay, we're gonna do with the findings, whatever, and then fight abroad. You see, they could have did that. They could have did that. They didn't. Conor Benn didn't have to make up all this. He didn't have to squeal like a sport brat. He didn't have to do act the way he's acting. You know what I mean? Tiafoe is going to KO. Yeah. Get Josh Taylor. Yeah, I'm putting money on that. All right. Yeah, I can see that.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think Tiafoe will go knock him out. Josh Taylor's been inactive, man. I think so. You don't think so? I think he can.
I think Lopez is over.
I think Josh Taylor look like he's run through as well. They both of them look like they run through. I think they both run through, but he's younger though. Actually, I don't know. What's the age? I need to go check. Let me go check the age. But what do you think, Conor? I think if Conor Benn comes to fight in the States, he's gonna get turned over though.
Here's the problem. So here's the problem with Conor Benn fighting in the United States. He's not known, or he's an unknown quantity over here.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm sorry, an unknown commodity. No one knows who this guy is. Only the hardcore boxing fans have a clue as to who he is, really. And he's living off his father's name. And look, to be completely honest, his father was, an unknown commodity over here.
Mm-hmm.
And and even as far as like the hardcore boxing fans in this country, at least, many of them only know Nigel Benn for having the fight with Gerald McClellan.
Well, and the Barkley fight and Doug DeWitt, right? Barkley and Doug DeWitt.
Yeah, but I mean, but the McClellan fight was a big deal because of the way it turned out.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
that was big. That was big.
But in terms of the casual fan does not know who Conor Benn is. So I would be very surprised that if he were to come fight in the United States, unless he would be playing B-side to a big name who has drawing power in this country. So there's some chatter about him fighting Manny Pacquiao. So, that fight could happen here, but people would be tuning in to watch Manny Pacquiao. At least American fight fans would be tuning in to watch Manny Pacquiao, not Conor Benn.
Yeah, exactly. Well, going back to the Josh Taylor real quick, briefly. Josh Taylor's 32, Tiafoe is 25. That's what I'm saying. He's gonna knock him out. He gonna knock him out, bro. He gonna knock it. He gonna knock out. He's older. And he ain't fought for he hasn't fought for a whole year. Last time he fought 2002. Tiafino's been more active. So, but go ahead.
Yeah, I just think Teofimo is done. It's a wrap. You know, he had his moment in the sunshine, and now the sun is set.
Fair play. All right, so hey, listen. So you said let's go back to Piers Morgan. So Piers Morgan, I thought he extracted some good information about him. I think he extracted that Conor Benn is very egotistical. He talks on his pride, and he ain't listened to his dad because his dad said he should hand the information into the British board, and he doesn't want to do that. And Nigel Benn said he's dealing. Nigel Benn, a lot of things came out in the interview that Nigel Benn had to bury his mum. That must be a very hard thing to deal with, and he's got his own issues in Australia. And Conor Benn being hounded by this, because sometimes I feel like if you're getting chased by something, sometimes it's best to go confront it rather than run away from it. And I think he's doing that in way of coming on the show, but also he's being pulled in directions. I feel Eddie Hearn is advising him very badly. I feel if Eddie Hearn is advising him very badly, because Eddie Hearn was the first one to go, this fight should go ahead. It was him. But you see, the funny thing is, people say Eddie Hearn should have been on the show because he could have talked for him, yeah. But Eddie Hearn ain't going to take the bullets. You know, Eddie Hearn is always going to run back to the mansion and hide. But Conor Benn is taking full blunt headshots. You know, that's why, you know, not punches from people, from people you ain't even seen. I mean, he said he felt suicidal. I think after the interview, I don't even know what he going to think after that, because the way he come across and we said, well, I just don't want to do it because my pride. I was like, well, that's stupid, bruv. But who said boxers are the smartest people? Go ahead, Fight Doctor.
Well, listen, I'll tell you what. I think that revelation sort of plays into the whole. I think it lends. I don't think it lends any credibility to his story. Meaning, someone of that mindset, someone who's thinking in those terms, perhaps low self-esteem, would be more inclined to take PEDs. Because they have low self-esteem, okay? Maybe, he feels that there's this pressure to perform, or there's this pressure that he needs an edge to compete. And so he doesn't have the intestinal fortitude to do what's necessary without the crutch, okay? So, yeah, honestly, I don't think Conor Benn did himself any favors in his interview, at all. And, beforehand, I thought that.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, prior to, I thought he was, on juicing, and this interview has not done anything really to change my mind.
I don't think he's juicing. I think he's just an amp young man. I don't think. I don't think he's juicing. I think he might have took something, and I don't know if that helped. I don't know if that helped him in boxing, because his dad said he used to slap like a girl when he used to punch. I didn't think he could punch. He didn't have a really good amateur career showing, but I think they've matched him in a way against some of these guys. I'm going to prove it as well. Some of the guys they've been off for like 2 years, almost 3 years. Out the ring for 3 years. Yeah, they're former world champion with great amateur. But if you've been out that ring for that long length of time and you're going against a young kid who's active, it's going to be very hard, man. Because your timing's all off. It's all off. And, you're just going to get bum rushed, and then, the referee jumps on and stops it. And by the way, only a few of them fights did these guys end up on the floor, knocked out. A couple of them, he had them knocked out on the floor. But Conor Benn just mugged them. He just jumped in the ring, ran over the other ring, and just punched them in their face, and they went over. Which is, yeah, of course, they've been out the ring for that long. They're going to get turned over. Funny enough, when I saw Inoue versus Nonito Donaire, they thought that was going to be a barbecue. And Nonito still has something left, and in the first fight, he roasted him. But in the second fight, you saw what happened. And Nonito, even though he was a world champion, he was inactive. He got killed, brother. He absolutely got wasted because he was that much years older. They thought, yeah, and that Inoue guy's younger. That Steve Fortin Jr., he gonna beat the ish out of Inoue. But anyway, let me get this, see what Simon Jordan has and Thingy White has to say.
whilst we were at the awards night last night, it prevented me from seeing this interview. I will catch up with it. I've seen bits of it, parts of it. Conor Benn, of course, was speaking to Talk TV's Piers Morgan. What did we learn after all of this? Of course, we all know what happened regards Conor Benn. Anybody who doesn't, where have you been? He was about to fight Chris Eubank Jr. And then it came to light that Conor Benn had failed a drugs test. And the fight was put in serious jeopardy. Was it going to take place? No, it didn't. And since then, Chris Eubank Jr. has gone into the ring again. He lost to Liam Smith, and a whole bunch of circumstances have changed. In the meantime, they hadn't released this 270-page dossier put together by Conor Benn's team, which they say proves Conor's innocent. Make the damn thing public. Why wouldn't you if you're protesting his innocence?
Yeah. Well, there's the question, isn't it? I mean, I think on the whole, Piers Morgan did the interview in a fashion that most people would have wanted to see. Yes, it could have been grittier. Yes, it could have been stronger. And yes, he could have been double down with Conor on really trying to get underneath the reasons why he will not go to the British Boxing Board of Control. His answer was because they can do one. That was his answer.
Yeah.
Right. And that's not logical. If you want to, first of all, for Conor, he wasn't exonerated by the WBC. They don't have a position to exonerate anybody. They're not the governing body of a sport. They're a sanctioning body. So what they say is almost irrelevant. What they did was they became a witness for the defence. They provided him with an alternate version because the 270-page report that his lawyers and the individual experts they brought in has produced was about VADA testing. And they didn't go with that. Now, it might be they didn't go with that because it's WBC testing, and it may be that they felt there were some issues with their own testing. We've yet to hear that or see that. But what they did was they gave him an alternate explanation, which he doesn't want to have. So there's such an irony. He doesn't want this alternate explanation. But it's very clear to anybody that sat and listened to that interview. The tragedy of it is that Conor, first of all, is being guided by his lawyers, and I wonder what their end game is. Their end game is not to get him cleared through the processes that are available to most sportsmen, which is going through the governing body. Their end game seems to have some sort of compensatory end game attached to it, which is about finances, which is about suing people for things that you've lost. And of course, Conor alludes to the lack of it, the revenue that he'd have lost from the Chris Eubank fight and reputational damage.
Right.
Well, in order to have reputational damage, you have to exhaust all the possibilities. And clearly the possibilities that you have with this is you stand in front of the British Boxing Board of Control, you go through their process. If you feel that their process is prejudiced in any shape or form, and you get an outcome that you don't like, you go to the Court of Arbitration of Sport. That's what you do. You don't go to a sanctioning body round the side to give yourself some form of credence. Tragically for me, listening to that interview, I saw a very conflicted young man. I don't think he was particularly helped by his father coming on. I don't understand, and this is a very sort of controversial subject, I don't understand someone that's in this kind of mental condition. And if my son was in this mental condition, I'm not sure I'd be in Australia. I think I'd be with him.
No, well, the reason why his dad, he just said he's married, he buried his mom, and he's not in a mental state himself to do with Conor. He's dealing with his own kind of issues, and Conor is a grown man. Nigel's taught him to stand up. If that's what you believe, son, you go for it. That's why I think Nigel Benn, he doesn't understand that. You know what I mean? That's why most of the guys, you can't keep protecting your son. Your son's a man. You know what I'm saying? And Conor feels like he's wronged, and he's got money, and he's gonna do his thing. What do you think about Fight Doctor about the money situation? You think Conor's just doing it for money? Because I believe that. I think he's right. I think Eddie Hearn and them guys, because of the zone, I've highlighted already, the zone was going downhill, and Eddie Hearn needed a big star. And I feel with this drug thing that derailed it, and they want money. What do you think for a Fight Doctor? Do you think it's doing money as well?
Well, I mean, it's called prize fighting. So they fight for a prize. Mm-hmm. And, you know, at the end of the day, all these guys are looking to get paid. So I'm sure whatever is motivating him to do what he's doing right now, it's definitely finance is the prime motivator, you know. But, you know, what really strikes me as interesting is that he claims he doesn't want to release this document, this 207-page document, because of his pride, which in my mind seems to be, contradictory, because if you're a prideful person, then something which would defame you, it seems to me that you would want to undo or work against something that would defame you. So this accusation that you are using PEDs, this is defaming. This is defaming your character. So where is your pride? Where is the part of you, that prideful part of you, that would want to clear your name? Because it seems to me that if I'm proud of who I am, if I'm proud of being a clean athlete, which is, I guess, the assumption that we all should make, is that Conor Benn is a clean athlete. So then my pride should say, well, I want to prove that these charges are false because I'm proud of being a clean athlete. So if there's something in this document, it seems to me, whatever's in this document, it probably says opposite of what we're being led to believe. Right? But at the end of the day, it's all about money. It's prize fighting. Boxing is a dirty business. And this is just the latest example of boxing showing to the world how filthy it can be. And that's what this is. It's dirty. All right? It doesn't make any sense. I mean, look, if you're on trial for murder, right? And this is extreme, but if you're on trial for murder and you hire a good legal team, which you should, right? And your legal team comes up with evidence, they produce evidence that confirms you are not guilty of the crime. That evidence should be front and center. Because I'm charged with murder, something that could relieve me of my life and my freedom. But that's not what's happening here. What's happening here is this guy is being charged with having done something wrong, and instead of presenting the evidence to the world that clears his name, he wants to cover it up. So yeah, it's just stupid, crazy.
Yeah, and he's trying to, and the WBC was going for it. That's the worst thing. The WBC. This is the thing. The WBC actually gave him an out. They said it's to do with eggs, and he says, nah. You see, he's so brazen that, see, this is what Canelo would use about the meat, right? The tainted meat. That's what he used Canelo. The WBC gave him an out. They said, yeah, we've seen your finding. We agree that it might be thing, and we think it was eggs. He's taking eggs.
But here's the problem with the WBC, right? It's sort of like, again, if I'm on trial for murder, yeah? I'm on trial for murder, and I want to call a character witness. And as a character witness, I call O.J. Simpson. How does that work?
Whoa.
that's essentially what's going on here. This guy is claiming that he's innocent. He doesn't use PEDs, and then he's talking about how the WBC has cleared his name. Have you not been paying attention, Mr. Conor Benn? Because the WBC is the same organization that changed its rules so that now one Canelo Alvarez can eat his special tacos, okay, and can have a banned substance in his bloodstream. And this is okay by the WBC because they changed their rules. So what was cheating yesterday is now not cheating today.
Yeah, what happened to
and these are the people that you want to use as a character witness for your innocence. Yeah, no, I'm not buying.
Yeah, 100%. And what happened to the franchise champion? Do they still do that, or is that gone now? I think I don't think they use it no more. Do they? They don't do the franchise.
I'm trying to think of if there are any current franchise champions.
No, they just did that because they didn't want. I think it was Devin Haney or someone not to fight Lomo. What they would do. They were trying to protect the cash cows of the division, so they made up this franchise champion to make it seem like you could avoid fighting certain people. So they, like you said, they make up rules. They actually gave Conor Benn out. They're so corrupt, yeah, that they gave Conor Benn an actual excuse, and he didn't take it. He said, no, that's not true. And in that regard, I give him respect for not going with that. But it shows how the WBC he made the WBC look bad because they actually came with a finding and said it was eggs. No, it's not eggs. What are you talking about? It's not eggs. Because Conor wanted them. But then Conor saying, but the WBC has found me innocent. But no, they haven't. They said it was eggs, bruv. And you're saying no, it wasn't eggs. So what is it? What is it? What exactly that you're saying you ain't got? The findings were that you've took something, and he said they must have made a mistake. Why have they made a mistake with you? You know what I'm saying? The problem is Eddie Hearn has been in his ear, And he's told them, don't worry, we can get over this. They're out of order because they've let other people get through. Other people get through this, and I don't know why they're picking you. But I feel, like I pointed out, they've done this to Dillian White, Eddie Hearn's fighter, and they've done this to Conor Benn. And if they could do, they'll do Anthony Joshua as well. But they try. I remember they were calling Anthony Joshua drugs and all that for the longest. I mean, you remember that talk was going on. There was that rumors was going on about Anthony Joshua. You remember?
Yes, I remember.
Yeah. So this is a constant theme of trying to take down Eddie Hearn's fighter, and I believe it's in the press because Frank Warren controlled the press and the media. They slander their fighters, and when this went out, now let's say he's absolutely innocent. But why have you got a problem with the British board when they want to resolve it? You know, why aren't you going to the British board? He's saying, no, we're going to overthrow. He said, first Eddie Hearn was saying we're going to sue the British board. And now Conor saying he's going to sue him. I was like, what are you talking about, bruv? But I think that's to do with a privileged young man. He's privileged and he has bad representation. And I've talked to Conor a couple of times. He's very stubborn. He's very stubborn. He doesn't, when he's made up his mind about something, he ain't changed his mind for nothing. But that's exactly how, that's why people not understanding things, because where you are now is not future. He's not really taking into account that all you have to do is say, well, if the fight got drugged, let me find out what's going on. I don't think the fight should go ahead, to make sure everything's safe. And everyone will appreciate that, because you're going like that, you've turned people against you, bruv. But I've been saying that people want to see you fight. People still want to see you fight. I don't think Conor's that good, by the way. I think Conor's is an okay fight because he's been matched very well. And I think, as I pointed out, some of the guys he's been against, I'm going to pull up. I need to pull up as well. Some of the guys he's been in, but they've been offered like 2 years, 3 years. You know what I mean? Like I said to you, if you're beating guys out, been out the ring for 2 years. And I remember when I was watching, I was like, this guy's been out the ring for years. And Conor's going to roast him out. I was like, you know what I'm saying? This guy, but he couldn't even knock out the journeyman. The journeyman was active. At least they were active. But anyway, I've already put that point over. People are really going in on Conor Benn, and there's loads of videos made about him. I mean, bloody hell. You know what I mean? They call him all kinds of names and stuff like that. I mean, it's and before this, he never got slammed. They had no reputation or anything. All right, Van Herden. All right, let's go. Let's start with the first knockout he got. I think he went this with Formella. I think it was Sammy Vargas. That was the first. This was the first wave of knockouts he started to get. Right. Let's go, Sammy Vargas. Conor Benn. All right. Okay, he was out literally. Okay, he got knocked out by Virgil Ortiz coming into that fight. All right. And not really the month. So he got knocked out in the 7th round. So Conor got him after that. So he was a bit weak on that one. That was that one. The next one is Granadas went the distance with 12 round. That was Conor won that fight. I don't know what it is. All right. Chris Algieri. Let's see that one. Conor Benn. Fought Benn. Actually, he fought Conor Benn. Who's this guy? Actually, he did fight previously before. Actually, he did fight. So I can't even. He was out. He fought Tommy Coyle in 2019. He didn't fight the whole of 2000. He fought 2001 and he went the decision. And Conor Benn went in there and knocked him out. Maybe some people got a point then. Maybe he was on something. But he wasn't active though. He wasn't active. And then the last guy, Van Herden. Let me see when the last time he fought before Conor Benn. Okay, yeah, he was out from 2000. The last time he fought was Jaron Ennis. It was a no decision, all right? And that was in 2000. Boots Ennis, no decision. And then Conor Benn, funny enough, a no decision in the first round. Conor Benn does it, sparks him in the second round. So maybe some people got something right there, because all of a sudden he's just stepped up a level and he's knocking out all these top boys. Maybe I actually didn't think so, but just by looking at it, yeah. How comes he's knocking out all these guys, man? You know what I mean? How comes he's knocking out all these guys when these guys are durable? Like even Boots Ennis had a no contest with Van Herden, and then Conor Benn goes in there and sparked them. Maybe some people got a point, And the way he's arguing, it's like he's what's it called? Roid Rage or whatever. What do you think, sir?
Roid Rage.
Yeah,
Roid Rage. Yes.
Yeah, Roid Rage. Go ahead. What do you think of what I said?
Yeah, I mean, if the question is, does this all look suspicious? Then yes, it does. And like I said previously, he's not helping his case any with this interview. calling the WBC as a character witness, right? I mean, there's a clear conflict of interest there, all right, where the WBC is concerned, okay? They are interested in you fighting for their title. So you appealing to them as some type of authority, which would, clean you. What's the one I'm looking for?
Yeah, Trump, the British border control.
Right.
Like,
yeah. So that doesn't fly, okay? Because the BBBOC is the only impartial party here, right? So yeah, it all looks suspicious to me. Like I said, now me personally, I'm one of those people. I think if you look at the top 10, 15 in any division, 75% of those guys are juicing, in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
So here you have a guy who is, in my mind, not. If he's world class, he's not on the higher end of world class.
Yeah.
He has the name, and then there are expectations that come along with having his last name. So there's pressure for him to be able to live up to these expectations that perhaps maybe his skill does not allow by itself. So, yeah. I still think, before this interview, I thought he was juicing, and I still think that.
All right, so in England, yeah, in his weight class, I still don't think he's a welterweight, but let's go with it. Welterweight, he's number one in the country as a welterweight, but I don't think he beats Chris Congo. Michael Kinnison. I think a lot of these guys here, I think they'd give him trouble, and I think this is what I said about matchmaking. Like, they'd give Conor all kinds of trouble. He's number one in the country, though, right? He's ranked number one. All right, in the world, he's ranked number 10. Now, you look for Errol Spence, Uganis, Virgil Ortiz, Cody Cowan. I never heard of him before. He's 29. Jareth Ennis, another guy from Germany. David Anissian. That's the fight they wanted to see, and Conor didn't want to fight him. He's 34 years of age. Solomon, whatever, he's from France, right? 31. And you got Conor Benn, right? But I think, I don't know about this Solomon guy and this other guy from Germany, or wherever he's from, Cuba, Colombia. Was it? No, Lithuania. I don't know about them guys here, but the other guy, I don't know about this Cody guy either. I don't know if Conor Benn beats any of them guys there. I don't think he beats the top 5, the top 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't think he beats the top 4. Virgil Ortiz, Uganis, Errol Spence Jr. and Crawford. I don't see he beat none of them. I don't see him beat none of them guys. Go ahead.
So does he have any wins over a top 10 welterweight? I don't think so.
He beating the former world champions at 140. Or most of them guys are 140, but not at welterweight. No, at welterweight, no. I think for Mella, I think he went against Porter. He went to this with Porter. I think that's the only guy. I don't know where that Femella's ranked. He's not really ranked that high. But Conor Benn beat him. He's comfortably. You got Van Herden. Van Herden's like 39 and stuff like that. But the Pacquiao fighting them sort of fights here to get money. That's what. Yeah, but you're not gonna be fighting no credible guy, man. You're not fighting no credible guy, and no one thinking Conor Benn can beat none of these guys here, man. But the thing is, because he's 26, everyone else is in their 30s. Like, what's Bruce Ennis, right? Bruce Ennis, Gerald Boo. He's 25, so Gerald, and he's 30. He's got 30 fights. So he right there. Conor Benn, I mean, he's had 21 fights. So he's relatively a novice, man.
Yeah, and I don't think that we'll see him in the ring with any credible opposition anytime soon.
Well, they talk about Adrian Broner. They talk about him and Adrian Broner. Him and Adrian Broner, that can fight. He can fight Adrian Broner. I think Adrian Broner will give him. He'll probably outbox Adrian Broner, to be fair. And you got Manny Pacquiao, but both of them, Manny Pacquiao and Thingy, they hit hard, man. They extremely hard.
Well, I mean, I don't know that I would qualify Adrian Broner in 2023 as
I would. Puncher, yeah, he is. He can punch, man. He just got no work rate. Just got no work rate. He doesn't work enough. You know what I mean? He can punch though. He's durable as well. Like if you look at Adrian Broner, like has he ever been stopped?
No, Broner's never been stopped.
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
I mean, I'm not gonna disagree with that. I mean, you know, he took a beating in the Marcos Maidana fight, and he was there to the end.
Yeah, tough.
And that was a beating, trust. And I think Maidana pretty much ruined Adrian Broner because he hasn't been the same since.
Well, I think because he moved up from what was it? It was lightweight to water, and he just skipped the 140 division. I think jumping that weight class that quickly, trying to get the paydays and stuff like that is. And he didn't need to fight Marcos Maidana. It was a match that the fans wanted to see, and he said, "All right, I'll fight him." He did. I don't think he took the sport seriously as he should have, and take it free, continue winning. And I say the same thing to my amateurs. I said the same thing to the amateurs. I said, listen, when you win, just keep winning. It's not about losing. It's keep winning. So whether you got to take a wreck, you don't feel good because when you lose, it's all messed up. And Broner didn't need to lose to Marcos Maidana. He didn't need to fight Marcos Maidana. There was other matchups like the likes of a Paulie Malignaggi, guys like that he could beat all day because they didn't have no power, but they were credible. And this is the thing about matchmaking in boxing. You can be undefeated to a certain extent. The only way I say it's hard to be undefeated is when you defend your belt. That's why the people defend their belts, depending on what belt it is now. Because I remember the WBO belt, I didn't really give it much credit, and the contenders wasn't that good. But when you had the WBC, IBF, WBA, the contenders were very good. And if you can defend your belts for numerous, you tough because the matchups don't favor you. They just don't. These guys will earn the right to fight you. And this stylistically, you have to find a way to beat these guys, and that's why you can give these guys credit. But with Broner, that Marcos Maidana fight was like, that's that kind of style. Broner, it was just hard to deal with. He never dealt with something like that before in his whole of his career. Maidana was throwing windmill punches from up, underneath, hitting him low in the balls. Like, damn. You know what I'm saying? And it was a very hard matchup for him. I mean, when I watched the fight, up on that, he was matched very well. DeMarco, all these guys there, he knew how to beat them guys there. But that guy was strong. I mean, that guy, Marcos Maidana, would give Crawford trouble, and he'd give Errol Spence problems. That kind of style, he would. You know what I mean? He gave Amir Khan problems as well. Like Marcos Maidana is a awkward guy to fight. He's tough, he's durable, and he's throwing punches that he reminded me of Ricardo Mayorga, that kind of style. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's more like a refined Ricardo Mayorga.
Yes. Just tough, gritty, them kind of. But anyway, yeah. So Conor Benn fighting these guys in there in the top thing. I don't think he wins against them guys, but fighting people over the hill that people still want to see. Manny Pacquiao versus Conor Benn sells. It can do some numbers. I think if you do it fight in America, I think Conor Benn, or they'll be asking about the drug testing. Shit. Everywhere you go, they're gonna, what about the drug testing? What about the British Border Control? It's just wherever you go, they're gonna hound you for it. You know what I mean? They're gonna keep hounding. I remember they hounded Reggie Bush to give back his Heisman Trophy for years. It's like, yo, because he took some money. I think apparently now in college they can take money now. They can accept money, and like they hounded him to give back his Heisman Trophy because he took some money to feed himself. You know what I mean? They hounded him for years. And, Conor Benn, they ain't going to leave you alone. They're not going to leave you alone. And I think this show with Piers Morgan highlighted that your case is very paper thin. In fact, I'd argue to say that you have no case. If you take this to court, I don't see how you're winning. Fight, Doctor, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, how do you win in court when you have this test, comes back dirty, and you have the WBC claiming it was from eggs. So essentially what the WBC is saying is you pop dirty. It's just that you pop dirty because you ate an omelet instead of having consciously having ingested a banned substance. So, I mean, really, it doesn't even matter. Any way you get the substance in your bloodstream, it's in your bloodstream, whether you took it knowingly or unknowingly. That is beside the point, because the point of the drug test is not to determine what the intent is, right? The purpose of the drug test is to determine what is the state of affairs. Okay, not how the substance got into your body. It's not the purpose of the drug test. So I'm not quite sure what the point of a suit would be, right? Because the evidence says that you were dirty. I mean, is this even open for interpretation? Is this open for dispute? So what are we talking about, right? I mean, go to court to do what? argue about how guilty you are. I mean, I don't get it.
All right, yeah, all right, man, yeah. Well, that's where we are in a minute. All right, we're gonna move on because that's exactly where it is at the minute. We don't know what to do about it. We got a big fight coming up this weekend. We got a couple actually. We got a couple coming up. First up, we have Tim Tszyu versus Tony Harrison. How you see that fight going, Fight Doctor? That's the 11th of March.
Tszyu is getting knocked out.
Yeah?
Yep. Tszyu is getting knocked out.
Why do you say that?
Because in my mind, Tim Tszyu is garbage. He's trash.
He better than Tony Harrison.
Okay, well, we'll see. But I think Harrison is going to knock Tszyu out. And look, Tim Tszyu, and another guy who is banking on his last name. Now, let's not forget his pops, as good as, and I'm speaking as a Kostya Tszyu fan, right? But Kostya Tszyu was never, would never be confused for Sugar Ray Leonard or Pernell Whitaker. Okay, sound fundament. He had good sound fundamentals, but he was not a will of the wisp, right? He wasn't the slickest boxer that I've ever seen. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, and Tim Tszyu is worse than his dad. He's Kostya Tszyu. He's a poor man's Kostya Tszyu, just bigger. All right, and let's not forget what happened when Kostya Tszyu got in front of a real slick boxer.
Oh yeah,
what was the guy's name? What was his name?
Phillips. Phillips when Phillips knocked him out.
Yes.
Bad.
Okay.
Robbed. He was tough, man. Phillips roasted him. That was bad.
Okay. Slick boxing. Listen, the slick boxer is kryptonite for the Eastern European style, and Tim Tszyu is Eastern European style, only degraded a few degrees.
You know what? I'm just going down the resume, bro. And he just fought, Jared Hurd. He fought Charlo. You know what I'm saying? He actually beat Charlo. You know what I'm saying? I know he lost in.
Thank you. Just look at the man's resume.
E.J. Smith. He just got a better. He's just Willie Nelson. He was pretty good back in the day. I remember him.
I mean, look, 154 over the last decade.
Yeah,
has been stacked.
Yeah.
Okay?
But the only thing is he's inactive. Like the last time he fought was in 2002. It was like, what was it? April, right? So like that's like literally 11 months inactive. And this is what I said. It's perfect timing it's perfect timing. He's 32. Tim Tszyu is, let me say how old Tszyu is. He's 28, right? No, not much different. But in terms of the level of competition, my gosh. I mean, it's going to take a while for Tony to get warmed up.
It's night and day level.
Yeah.
Tim Tszyu was beating who again? Was he beat?
Nah, he beat Jeff Horn. He beat Thingy Hogan. You know what I'm saying? And he got a high knockout percentage. Tony got a high knockout percentage, though, innit? But I don't know what he be doing, though. Australia is hard, Let's we go over, like, it's 24 hours, like, the other side of the planet. Actually, from America to Australia, it's not that far, actually. From the UK, it's far. But it's far, man. And you go do training camp, sparring partners, and all that. I don't know, like, he got money like that, you know what I mean? Because he never made that much money. And I feel like with professional fighters, if you got a top promoter behind you, giving you money, giving you good, top quality sparring, I feel like this is what makes fighters good. You give them top quality sparring for them to learn, and then the ways. I don't know if he's doing it because he's spending his career with Bungania, following her around, following her career. I don't know how much is his mind on it like that no more. Does he still? You know what I'm saying? What do you think? I think they just paid him to get in their ring as a name. He's not there to win though. What do you think?
That all might be true, but if if he is 75% of what he was in the Charlo fights, he beats Tim Tszyu. Tim Tszyu is trash. He's garbage. He's living off his pop's name, and if his last name weren't Tszyu, we right now would not be sitting here having this conversation. I promise you, because nobody would care.
I can't even disagree with that. It's true that hey, it's like Conor Benn. It's true. You ain't got them name. You ain't got that name behind you, but you still have to keep winning though, and that's what he been doing. He been winning, right?
Okay, well, yeah, but again, who have you beaten?
Yeah.
Tim Zoo? Who have you beat? Seriously,
Yeah.
who's this guy beat? He's beaten nobody.
No
Same way with the Nico Ali Wash cat. Beating nobody.
Oh yeah.
Living
that
off
guy,
his grandfather's name.
Yeah, that guy.
Okay?
Yeah,
He's another guy who's trash. Wide
trash.
open for right hands.
Yeah, he's no good. He's no good.
The guy is a knockout waiting to happen.
Yeah, I can't even deny that one there. That he just slow down with that thing. All right, move on to this one. Tony Yoka versus Colin Tackham. 10-round fight. Tony Yoka, what do you think?
Now that one I have no opinion on that one. I don't know. I don't know which way that's going. Because I'm not caught up on either one of those guys where they are currently. So honestly, I don't know.
All right. The next fight. What we got here? Okay, yeah, let's do that one. Let's do this one. Forget that one. All right, this one. Gervonta Davis, Ryan Garcia. That's in April. What do you think?
Yeah, April 22. So I'm thinking Davis.
Go ahead.
And only reason being is because I think Davis is the more durable guy. I think between the two of them, Davis has been in more. He's faced a little bit more stiffer opposition. I think perhaps when, it's not going to be a cakewalk for either fighter, but I think where the mental edge is concerned, where the mental capacity is concerned, in my mind, Tank Davis has the edge there. I think he's just the tougher guy. And then I think stylistically, Tank Davis presents a problem for Ryan Garcia.
I agree with you, man. Ryan Garcia, I mean, the other day he was thinking about suicide. The level of opponents, he ain't fought. I don't know who he's fought. Literally, Instagram guy. That was his whole claim to fame. Oscar De La Hoya liked the look of the kid, but he ain't no Oscar De La Hoya. And Tank been, the people say, "Oh, Tank fought," but boy, he fighting some decent guys. I think he fought better competition. Just a better level of competition against Ryan. I think they fought in the amateurs a couple of. No, I think it was him and Shakir. I can't remember if they fought in the amateurs. By the way, this is a catch weight at 136.
Yeah, 136 pounds. So
yeah,
which I don't think that really
that suits
matters.
Tank. Though. I think that suits Tank a bit better. You know what I mean? Because I think Ryan. I think he gonna find all kinds of trouble. I think Tank knocks him out, man. I think Tank will beat the hell out of him, knock him out. At this level of competition, Ryan, he's fast and all that stuff, but is he Tank? Yeah, he's just hard to hit. I mean, or he'll let you hit him so he can get close to you, so he can land his bombs. He doesn't. He's when you got nearly 500 amateur fights, right? You're just it's just overtime. It's a matter of time before you get success in this guy. You know what I mean? And he's got plenty enough time to do it. I think Ryan probably starts first and takes the rounds, moves around boxes. But I think Ryan's gonna say, "Yo, I'm gonna stand with him." And the moment he stands with Tank, then it's gonna be all problems because they can't help themselves. Because they have so much success just outboxing him, they're gonna feel like, yeah, I can roll up. And then when you do, it ain't gonna be fun. It ain't gonna be fun. I mean, he can catch all of them, and most of the guys he caught, they're about the same height as him anyway. Ryan Garcia, he gonna have all kinds of problems. So I'm gonna go with Tank inside the distance. I'm not saying which round, but I'm saying Tank by knockout.
I think Davis stops him mid to late rounds.
Yeah,
I think the first half of the fight is competitive. But I mean, typically that's what we see in a lot of Tank fights. The Rolly fight, it was competitive up until the point of the stoppage, So, and I think this fight is probably going to look something similar. It's going to be competitive in the early rounds, and then towards 6, 7, 8, Tank comes on and steamrolls him.
Yeah. By the way, there's no belt on the way. There's no belt on the line. It's on the zone. No belt that I know of on the line. So I don't know what they got going on to make it 12 rounds, but it's scheduled for 12 rounds. Moving on to Yokohama, Japan. Is it Yokohama? I'll probably pronounce it wrong. I should have to Yokohama, Japan. ESPN, Steve Fulton Jr. versus and what's he called again? In a Y anyway.
Anyway,
yeah. In an I no anyway. Well, yeah, they're fighting in Japan. Know what I mean, they're fighting in Yokohama in Japan. Fight for the WBC, unification. This is a must watch for fight fans. A dream match. I'm gonna go start off real quick. I've been wanting this guy to fight a young, hungry guy. This anyway guy, he be fighting no guys. He be fighting old guys for the longest. All guys with no pop. This is the first guy he's stepping up fighting a guy. And I think Fulton was going to move up a weight, by the way. I think he was, they took the decision. And Fulton, the first time Fulton leaving America to go to Japan, this is what it's made of, bro. I mean, anyway, he's got all the things, but I'm like, okay, let's get the age. Anyway, bro, I remember he was 20. He's 29 now. Bloody hell, man. Time's gone fast, right? Still far, he's 28. So he's like a bit younger. He don't. You see, the thing is, this is the thing. He's natural at this weight class. That's the thing. In America, he's ranked number 1. In the world, he's ranked number 1. And now, anyway, he's moved up to this division. I think he's bit off a bit more than he could chew. But the way Top Rank and the rest of the people looking at it is like, well, he don't hit hard. I'm like, anyway, he struggled against Donaire. Like Donaire, if Donaire was younger, he would have ate that anyway for lunch. Because I look at anyway, one of them guys there, yeah, he hits he's got good hand speed. But I look at him through when he's taking a beating. He took a beating. He was jacked up, bruv. And Donaire was shot to pieces. So I'm gonna go Steve Fulton Jr. by stoppage inside 12 round. What do you say? What do you say?
Yeah, I think Fulton by decision or late stoppage. I think Inoue is in for a rude awakening and a proper welcome to the sport of boxing. Like, this is what it's all about, And look, I don't think there's any more fitting way to introduce a guy to the sport of boxing than having done so by sharing the ring with a real Philadelphia fighter and all that comes along with.
No doubt.
Right? So, yeah. So we're going to see, what the reality is, what the real deal is, if this guy is hype or if he's not. And certainly a guy like Fulton, is the one to answer the question. Or I'm sorry, is the one to ask the questions that Inoue would need to be answered. And yeah, I'm going Fulton by decision or late stoppage.
Well, I just been going down the resumes of the ages. The Paul Butler's 35. He's 35 now. And anyway, he's 29. So Inoue was always over. Inoue was younger than him. You have Newton there who's 40 now. Inoue 29 now. So he was these guys older. So I'm going down the guys' notable names. Like I pointed out, they were older. This is the first guy in his prime that he's facing who's younger than him. And I've seen this before. They matched him well in Japan. And he's doing what he is. And the reason why they're going against Fulton Jr. because they look at his knockout. But I'm like, he's been at the division. He's crafty and he's hard to hit. And at this division, he actually can hit. I think he will knock out anyway because they look at the 8 knockouts. But I'm looking at, he's fighting decent guys at this weight class, bro. They're looking at anyway the monster. He's fighting in Japan. He's got everything. I said, bro, the guy's going to come over there. If he goes to the scorecards, there's a possibility they could rob him. But Japan are quite honorable. I've never seen them rob anyone. I've never heard anything in Japan that they've robbed people on the scorecards. I've never heard that about Japan. Or, in fact, in Asia, not much. You know what I mean? Even in Thailand, I've never seen them rob anyone on cards. So I don't think that'll be a problem. But I feel like, anyway, he's going to be in a whole heap of problems, bro. He's going to be in a whole heap of problems. I don't know how... Fulton's preparation is going to be, but I feel like, this is after he beats in a way that people are going to start giving this guy credit right now, straight up. You know what I'm saying? So
no, they're not going to give him any credit. So what's going to happen is
they will.
No, they're not. What's going to happen is they're going to start to tear down the myth or undress the myth that is Inoue. That's what's going to happen. They're going to start questioning his record. I mean, the same people who are putting him as pound for pound number 1 and giving him all these accolades that he has not earned, these are the same people that when he loses to Fulton are going to deny what they were doing previously and not give Fulton his credit. I'm telling you, this is what's going to happen. And you have to be suspicious of these quote unquote monsters. And I'll give you an example. Golovkin. Right? Prior to the first Alvarez fight, he was, everyone was ducking him, even though they weren't. He was the monster, the best middleweight ever, the second coming of, whatever.
Yeah.
He was all these things, knocking out everyone. But if you look back at his resume, how many of his best opponents did he knock out? I mean, honestly, if you would make a list of his best opponents, he knocked out not a single one of them. Didn't knock out Danny Jacobs. Didn't knock out Canelo Alvarez. Had 3 opportunities to do so. And then who was his best opponent after that?
Jacobs.
Right, Danny Jacobs failed to get a knockout. And then, after that, honestly, really, after Danny Jacobs and Canelo Alvarez, there really isn't much left.
Nah,
because
because they were at 160. The guys he was knocking out were 154.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree with you. And then they were saying, but that's what they do now. They disparage old time fighters and say this guy ain't this guy and that. You know what I'm trying to say? I think even when Mike Tyson was, I was watching some footage of Mike Tyson. They say he was the youngest heavyweight champion, which is true, but he was never the youngest undisputed heavyweight champion like Floyd Patterson. Floyd, when it was regarded one belt, he was the youngest world champion at heavyweight, but he wasn't the youngest undisputed heavyweight champion. That's a fact that hasn't changed. Floyd Patterson is still the youngest undisputed heavyweight champion. You know what I mean?
That's what I keep trying to tell people. Not Mike Tyson, Floyd Patterson. Okay, get it straight.
Yeah, it's still. But you see this, and they say Vladimir has made the most offensive of the heavyweight championship. I go, no, he hasn't. That's not true. You know what I'm saying? The most offensive of I think it's still Joe Louis, and because he was undisputed, Klitschko was never undisputed. But you see, this is the things they keep bringing up, and there's no one to question them because all the old timers have long and passed out and left the sport, and boxing in itself is cannibalizing itself, eating on itself. You see, UFC, they rehashed John Jones after all the horrible things they said about him, but they realize they have no stars left. They need to bring this guy. Now they're saying he's the GOAT. Now they say all of his DIYs and everything he did before. No, we're not talking about that no more. We don't even mention that no more. We're just going, he's the GOAT because they need a star. They should have been doing that years ago. You know what I mean? They should have put John Jones as the number one guy years ago. You know what I mean? But they chose to rubbish him and take. But then they realize they need him now. They're going to put him up. And I feel in boxing, that's what you get. I feel like you're right. It's like they don't give guys credit. I feel like me, you, and but this is the thing about being on YouTube. It's one thing about YouTube. Like, them voices like Steve Kim and them people, we shut them out. We don't have to listen to them. Michael Montaro, and a lot of the guys who kind of spin the narrative. We don't have to listen to these people. They know that they're niche. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, most of the time, people will come to YouTube and get a real unbiased opinion on some of these fighters and give these fighters their credit. I think so. I'm not worried about with the Fulton Jr. He won't get his credit, but I feel like anyone being anyway, anyway challenge himself is credit to himself. But I feel like he bit off a bit more than he can chew, and if he could beat Stephen Fulton Jr., he'll shut me up for good. I'll tell you that right now. I won't say nothing about him no more. I will. I was like,
listen, if Inoue can beat Fulton, then I'll be the first person to give him his credit.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. He'll deserve it. I don't see him doing it. You know what I'm saying?
Same thing with Tim Tszyu. If Tszyu can beat Harrison, in my mind, he will earn a lot of credit.
I don't think so, though. I think he's supposed to be. I think he's supposed to be Harrison. Like, look. This Joe Kazaki was fighting another guy called Charles Brewer, right? Charles Brewer had some good fights in America. He was a former world champion at 160, but he's fighting guys. But it was timing. You know what I mean? He lost a couple of fights. His confidence not good. He's a good, hard, up and coming guy. But Joe Kazaki was on his game. You know what I'm saying? He's on his game. When you look at Costa Tszyu, it's timing. You know what I mean? He's timing. Harrison is like, yeah, he's tough, but we got him at the right timing. You know what I'm trying to say? Is he focused? Because really and truly, if I tell you what's his camp? Like, what's his camp, bro? No, I know he's been over with Bengana, but is he training? Is he really taking? Is he really been dedicated?
So here's my take on that, and I'm agreeing with everything you say, but it's up to Harrison. Harrison is supposed to put forth his best effort, and if he does not, that is by no means Tim Tszyu's fault. And if Harrison is not taking this fight seriously, if he is not putting in 100% of the work in training, in preparation for this fight. And should he lose to Tim Tszyu, in my mind, that's not gonna. I'm not gonna give Tim Tszyu any less credit because Harrison is a credible opponent. And if you're Tim Tszyu on the way up, which Tim Tszyu is on his way up, he's a prospect, right? He's a prospect, despite the fact he might be ranked number one by one of the sanctioning bodies, one of the sanctioning mobs. He's still a prospect, and you have to beat these. You have to win these types of fights on your way up. And I think this will tell us, if he can overcome this hurdle, whether or not he's ready for Charlo, which I don't think he's ready for Charlo. I think that Charlo getting the injury was the best thing that happened for Tim Tszyu because Charlo was going to steamroll Tim Tszyu. No question in my mind. And honestly, regardless of what happens in this fight, I think that's still the case.
Which Charlo are we talking about?
Charlo the Younger. I actually think Charlo the Younger is the better Charlo.
See the Charlo brother is 150. See the last Charlo fight? Is he undisputed at 154? Right?
He's undisputed at 154. Correct.
Yeah, that guy would have done him because that guy he fought when he unified the belt, right? I think there's a draw. Yeah, that guy's tough, man. That guy, he better than his brother. Like his brother's good, but the one at 154 is a dog, bro. He would have given Costa all trouble. You're right. I understand. I know exactly what you're talking about. That's why I said, or where he at, he's supposed to win. You know what I mean? He's got Australia. He's got the home team. He's got everything going for him. He's got the age advantage. This guy's inactive. They're going to say, yeah, we're going to. But I think the money he got from Bungard might have got him some good sparring. He got himself in there. I think, actually, you know what? They got the face-to-face, actually. Have you seen it on the face-to-face between Tim Tszyu and Feng? They got that.
I have not, but I'll pull it up.
I can pull up. Let's listen to some clippers of that. If we can do that. Like, we can listen to some clippers of that because that's because I saw it up on my thing, but I just I'll just wait till the fight day. I've never been on a big talking thing. I don't mind talking like me and you chop it up, but when it comes to the fighters these days, I was like, nah, you be talking too much, man. You know what I'm saying? Because they be saying some things. I'm like, nah, you live up to that. And it's like sometimes I think to myself, it's like, let me forget that here. There it is. There we go. Okay, face to face. I'm gonna play the audio. Bear with me, guys, because might as well. He's doing his runs though. He's on the last stand with Custard as well. He's doing his runs because it's going to be on Showtime. So there's a big fight coming up this weekend. Let me see if I get this.
So this another fight. Let me look at the schedule because there's something else coming up also. I'm trying to remember exactly what it is.
Let me see. I'm gonna play this audio. Let me see. Get interview going. So they're going. All right. So let's see what they say. Face to face.
I don't know. I guess he's grateful. It's quite simple.
He looks exactly like his dad, though, bruh. My God, the genes. My gosh, he looks exactly like his dad. The only thing he's missing is the ponytail too. Oh man, he just looks like his dad. That's a slim version. So basically, they're sitting on the chair, they're looking at each other. It's quite tall, though. It's quite tall. So let's see. Let's see what I see.
Boxing presents many different challenges and opportunities, and you never know what's going to happen. For myself, I was fighting for my first world title for the undisputed. Not many fighters ever get that opportunity, ever. I was luckily in line with the mandatory position, and Charlo was the guy that had all the belts. Otherwise, it would have been Castano. So, things fall apart, but other opportunities come along, and he's got this opportunity. But for myself, this is a bigger opportunity as well for myself.
How did it make you feel when you saw that Tim Tszyu was going to fight against Jamel Charlo, who you'd fought twice before for all of the belts? Do you think he deserved to be there?
Hell no. Well, why? Honestly, why? What I'm saying? Who, you know what I mean? Like, what ranking did he even go down, or what contender, or what top 5, what top 10 did he fight to get there? Like, no, why? You know what I mean? But like I said,
what could I possibly have done, man? I've beaten everyone that's put in front of me.
Amen. Amen to that. Amen to that. Amen to promotion. Amen to management. Amen. Amen. You've done your job as a fighter. But as the sanctioning bodies, as the guys at the top of the top, why is Tim? No, why is he next up? Come on, play. Yeah,
So you think I shouldn't deserve to fight for a world
That's
title?
exactly what I'm saying.
For a world title.
No. For all of them. I didn't think you should have been next up to fight for all the belts.
So
like
who in your opinion?
I mean, you could have named a bunch of guys. You got guys like Fandora that fought everybody. You got guys probably number 2, number 3, you know what I mean? Like Tim, I feel like has fought and beat everybody that they told him to beat. You know what I mean? But he hasn't crossed the pond to beat guys like me and guys like us and guys from America that really possess the talent structures to give him problems. He hasn't faced those guys to be next up to fight for everything. Come on, man. That's a last name thing.
Nah, man, it can't be a last name thing.
Why not?
I've fought 21 opponents and I've gotten rid of all.
Okay,
of them,
Tim. Amen to that. Like I said, your management matched you up with good guys. You beat them. Tell me who you beat top 10.
Top 10?
Top 10.
In the rankings,
who?
My last 4 fights have been all top 10.
Top 10?
Top 10.
In what way?
In each ranking that I've fought. That's the best possible opponents that I've had.
My thing is when it comes down to fighting guys on the other side of the pond that are guys that are extremely talented and extremely tough, right? The Herds, the Fondoras, the Lubins, the J-Rocks, the pool is deep. He hasn't fought not one.
So
and he's next up for everything. Come on, y'all. Come on, man.
So Tim Tszyu's never had one win that you've been impressed by.
Terrell Boucher. I'm impressed. I was more impressed that he got off the ground in round 1 and took over. I was impressed. I'm impressed. I'm watching him and I watch him get up and I watch him climb up and I watch him compete. Every round after that, I'm impressed. But guess what? The moment he crossed the pond and fight somebody from America, that's what happened. But I was impressed though, right? But it happened when he crossed over. Why not keep letting him cross over to keep facing the talent structure that's over there? You know what I mean? Why is he next up to fight for all the belts though? That don't even make sense.
Do you think he even deserves to be in with you as a former world champion and someone who's done what you've done in the sport?
I think a fight with me makes more sense than a fight with Jamil. I think a fight with me, like, you have to show us why you deserve that, right? You have to beat somebody. You have to compete against people like me, people like us, to show us why you deserve to fight for that number 1 spot. Like, you fighting for all the belts, every single belt. You know how hard it was for me. This is my third one. This is my third title shot. It was hard. I had to fight guys like her. I had to fight guys like, you know what I mean, like Jamil twice. Like it was rough. You know what I mean? I didn't get how? Like how? Whoever I gotta pay, I would have paid him. See who I had to pay. Like, come on, man, for me to skip the line like he just did, he skipped, bro.
Look, 21 fights in, man. I've fought everyone that I could have.
I agree with you, brother. I agree. And listen to me, you have probably one of the best managers there is in boxing. And not
just management, man. It's being able to.
But it's got management. It's all management. It's all management, though,
it's
brother.
About getting rid of whoever is.
But management has to match you.
I told you. This is what I said to you. I said it to you before. I said to you, it's about management. Would you like? We can play the rest of the film. Would you say? I ain't gonna lie to you, Fight though. Everything you said, he's saying. Go ahead, Fight though. Talk on it.
Right. So he basically saying what I said. Tim Tszyu has been managed very well. He's benefiting from having that last name. Which, look, I'm not mad at Tim Tszyu. That's what he's supposed to do. That's what his management team is supposed to do. It's supposed to capitalize on the man's assets. And, of course, his last name is an asset. But, again, now he's transitioning from the wading pool to the deep blue sea.
You see the thing is, the only thing I question on that, is like I look at Tim Tszyu, right? And I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. Like, if a man come over and say you ain't fought no one, I'm saying I'm fighting you. You know, I'm fighting for Walter Vermont. This guy's been out for a year. I should be a fighting you as well. Obviously, my manager's done well putting you in the ring. I mean, you saying this and that, but I feel like he took too much damage. See, this is the thing about what he don't understand. Yeah, you've been fighting with them guys because you had to, right? But you should be managed in a way to look after you. He seemed like, yeah, your management threw you in the deep end, right? And you've been swimming, or you've been losing, you've been swimming. So Costa Tzu, he's like, yeah, they fought for ranking, so he's fighting this guy, he's ranked, this guy's ranked, but you ain't fought the top guy. But he's fighting you, but you're coming off like, I don't know how much is left of him. See, I agree he's tough and all that. Nah, I'm not disputing that, but I question his will to win, because he's talking, and I think, I understand, I can feel his energy. He's feeling like I don't get no credit. I don't get no respect. You know what I mean? I don't get no credit and no respect. So I'm coming over here. I'm gonna let this guy know that, bro, you, and in his mind, he's like, you have been given to you, like you said about his name and the rankings and everything like that. But I still look at it as like, bruh, you know what I mean? Like, bruh, like, he's fresh. You know what I mean? You've been in some wars. You've been in some serious wars. And I don't know how much you got left. And you over there in Australia is corrupt, man. It's corrupt. If they see their boy buzz you up, they're gonna stop the fight straight up. That's it. He's the ticket seller. He's the numero uno. He's the number one guy. You ain't, and that's why I feel like Charlo's bitter. Not Charlo, sorry. Harrison's bitter to a certain extent, that in America, I feel like you don't get your justice, even when you're a champion. I don't think he gets his just respect. Go ahead, fight though, talking it.
Yeah, well, so I hope that Harrison is thinking knockout, because it's going to be very difficult, I think, for him to get a decision down under against Kostya Tszyu.
Yeah.
So he needs to be thinking knockout. But again, I'm not high on Kostya Tszyu. I think the man is garbage. Again, capitalizing off of his father's legacy is what he's doing. Beating nobody. He's got a punch. He's got to punch his chance in this fight. And if this fight were happening in America, I would be very, very, very confident in a Harrison victory. I'm confident in a Harrison victory now, but I would be overwhelmingly confident if the fight were happening here in America. And I'm going to acknowledge that if this fight goes to the scorecards, if the fight is 7-5 Harrison, it's going to be 16-14, 16-12 for Kostya Tszyu.
Bro, I ain't gonna lie.
I'm predicting robbery. Now I'm picking Harrison. That's who I think is going to win the fight. I think Harrison is going to stop Kostya Tszyu. But if the fight goes to the scorecards, I could definitely see a robbery.
I tell you what, yeah, you ain't watching the interview. I'm gonna share it to you. He's in Kostya Tszyu's head. Kostya, I don't think he's ever been talked to that way. I'm looking at that kid. I'm like, this guy's never been trash talked before, because the way Harrison's talking to him, like you said, he garbage. He's talking to him like he's nothing, bro. And you can see that Kostya Tszyu and the interviewer from Australia, they're offended. Like, whoa. And this is the thing about you Americans. You don't feel no ways about trash talking people and getting in people's head. Because I said, so where he's from Detroit, he's talking where he's talking. I'm like, yeah, we're going to find out on the night. Kostya Tszyu was like, oh, really? Oh, what do you mean? So he's trying to justify himself. That's how you know this guy's never been talked to like this way, bro. You know what I mean? He ain't never been in that kind of dog shit, not the dog fight where dudes are talking to you. I'm going to do this and that to you before I fight you. Mentally getting in his head. And I think he's already up in his head. He's in Kostya Tszyu's head. You know what I mean? Where his dad would have said, okay, let's find out. His dad, because he can lean on the amateurs. This is where I feel where the inexperience with the son is, he don't have it like that. The dad, yeah, being with the Russian team and all the mental training, the mental preparation in the amateurs, like, you can say what you want to say. It's like, yo, well, I got my game plan, you got your game plan, let's find out. Because, really, when you do your training, it ain't about what you say, it's about how the game plan's going to go out. And I can't be emotionally invested in what you're telling me. I just got to go do what I'm supposed to do. And I see in Kostya Tszyu's eyes, he never been talked to like that. And he looks shook, and the interview looks shook. And they're going about, he out and out is dogging them out over there. And I think that's what you got to do over there to get a win. I think you can win a fight sometimes by just talking trash, just before you even get into the ring. And I think he's doing that. And I think that's American attribute
that some people in the UK do, you know, but I think no one does it like America, because the way he's talking about him and the way you was talking about it beforehand, he's rubbish. I mean, you ain't surprised that that Harrison's talking to him in that way. He's talking to him like you are nothing, bro. What are you saying? Go ahead, fight up.
Yeah, I agree. I'm sure. Look, we live in the information age, and all these young people are connected to the internet, you know, each and every kind of way. So I'm sure Tim Zhu, you know, goes to certain YouTube pages and has probably heard some commentary. Has probably done some homework. So I'm sure he's come across some commentary that probably was like, you know, who is this dude fought? What has this guy done? Right? And so then he hears the same thing coming. Look, Tony Harrison has nothing to lose here. He's got everything to gain. So, you know, the fight is already signed. It's not like you can run away from the fight now. So maybe when I was trying to get you to sign the contract, maybe I needed to be nice, you know, kowtow, whatever. But now that the contracts are signed, and now that we have a venue, and now that we have a date, and now that I'm going to see you in the ring, I can tell you what I really think.
Yeah.
So like I said, Tim Zhu has been waiting, he's been in the waiting pool, but now he's making the transition to deep water. So now let's see how he swims with the sharks.
Yeah. Good point. Let's hear some more in the interview. It's good. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. I you know, you and him, it's like you, bro. You're like, I mean, Harrison is going hard body on it. Let's hear some more.
With like that, right? Management had to match you up like that, and management had to speak up for you for whatever WBO, whatever rank you are number one in. Management had to talk for you. Management had to speak up. Management did a great job with you, brother. Like, and then I'm not knocking no skill. No skill is involved with that. Management made that happen for you. Management did a good fucking job with that.
I made it happen.
No, you won the fights. Management made it happen for you. You won the fights. If you don't
win the fights, none of this.
Amen. But listen to me, the people that you beat, come on. I could have tore my Achilles and beat those guys,
you
man.
Said Terrell Gaucher.
No. Terrell, like, you get all. That was a great win for you, brother. That's a great win. That's the only win I give you credit for, though.
Right.
The only one I give you credit for, but that's a great win, though.
Yeah.
I give you credit for that. You climbed up, but guess what? You know what happened when you faced adversity. You got up and you had to face the adversity. You had not faced the adversity before that. You faced adversity, you won that. Kudos to you. You deserve that fight. That was a good fight. That was a good win. That's a good win for you.
Tim, how does it feel? Not that he's an opponent saying what he's saying, but that he's someone of his standing in global boxing saying that you don't deserve to be here.
Look, I couldn't care less what Tony thinks, in all honesty. For me, I can only do what's put in front of me. And 21 times, whoever's been put in front of me, I just take them out. And that's it, man. It's quite simple. And I'm lucky now to have such a name of Harrison to present me that next challenge and boost my career, because if I beat Harrison, then do I deserve the shot? Your opinion?
You don't deserve a shot because you're not gonna beat Harrison.
When I beat Harrison,
no, you're not gonna be here. That's why that's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen, my brother.
That's
like I said, I'm here, and I'm like I said, like 21 fights, 21 wins. They got him riding high. They got him riding. He said he sailed there. He took the elevator. Me, I had to climb. He took the elevator, brother. And I'm gonna show you why it's levels, brother. It's levels. Everything that he did before, all the hoorah now, the blah blahs, and him just killing everything walking. When you get to that level and you start fighting guys that's just as competitive and just as skilled and more skilled, you can't do that no more. That doesn't work. That doesn't work. But listen to me, the same destination, the same ending that he want, I want. So guess what? It worked for both of us. This fight right here worked for us. That's why I said this is perfect for the both of us. Not just me, not just him. It's for the both of us.
Why did you?
Like, bro, I ain't more to say. That I mean, they've sold me on that fight. So that fight's this weekend. We gonna watch that. Yeah, man. I mean, shit. I mean, that's the first time I watched that. I'm invested now, man. What do you think, Fight Doctor? You invested in that fight?
Well, I mean, I'm always up to watch another hype job get exposed, and I think that's what's going to happen. In this case, we have again, we have these guys who are taking advantage of their last name, who hasn't proved anything. And look, I think honestly, Tim Tszyu sort of agreed with everything that Tony Harrison was saying, because he certainly wasn't putting up an argument against. Okay, he was sitting there listening and, from what I could tell, agreeing with mostly everything he had to say.
Yeah.
So if Tim Tszyu is able to beat Tony Harrison, not get a bogus decision, but if he's actually able to beat him legitimately, I'll give him all the credit in the world. But me personally, I think he has a puncher's chance, and if he gets outboxed for 8 rounds and then lands a clean right hand in the 9th, then he'll get credit for landing the clean right hand. But then I think he should also get credit for having been outboxed for 8 rounds, which is, if he wins, the most likely outcome, the most likely scenario for him winning.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch Harrison's last fight to see me, because to me, every time I watch him, he's always 2 rounds around from getting knocked out. He don't look sturdy no more. I mean, he been in some hard fights, bro. He been in some real hard fights, and he's talking from experience that you're a hard guy, but bruh, like, dudes who are fresh, they just they just overwhelm you. It's like, but the only thing I say, if Harris can put Tim Tszyu into that uncomfortable situation, how is he going to deal with it? That's what we're talking about. That's why I think you don't give that credit. If Kostu's in a hard situation, is he going to outbattle? Well, I say he's still got his dad's blood, though. He's still his father's son. You know what I'm saying? He's still his father's son, and he's got the home back in fight. So even though you don't think he's that guy, he's took this fight, and he gonna prove to everyone that he's that guy. So, like you said, Fight Doctor, we'll see. You know what I'm saying? We'll see. I like Tim Tszyu in the fight because he seems a bit more fresher, but Harrison, with all that experience, we can see if Harrison can let him go into the deep rounds to get experience. Because if not, Kostu gonna start fast, and then he's gonna get left behind, because Harrison to me, he's a slow starter. He's a slow starter, you know what I mean? And by then the fight might be over. All right, let's move on to the next fight, right? Josh Taylor versus Teofimo Lopez. We talked about it briefly. That's happening on June the 10th. What's your take on that fight for the WBO junior welterweight title? World title.
I'm sorry, you cut out for a second. Which fight was that?
Oh, Josh Taylor versus Teofimo Lopez for the WBO.
I like Taylor. I think Lopez is done. Yeah, I like Taylor. The Lopez had his time in the sun, but now it's sunset.
You ain't gonna expand no more on that. You just leaving it out like that. Go ahead.
I mean, right. So what has he done since beating Lomachenko? So he loses to Kambosos. And then his last fight, he almost lost against a guy who came out of left field. So, I mean, in my mind, you're only as good as your last fight. And, Lopez has not looked good for a while now. He's talking crazy. It's just, it's over. It's done. He's had his time in the sun. It's a wrap. I don't think he wants to fight anymore, to be completely honest.
You're right. I still feel like he's younger. He's supposed to beat Josh Taylor. Josh Taylor is old now, man. And he had a terrible fight with Castro. He got knocked down. You know what I mean? That fight was awful. I think he's there for the pickings as well. I think it's a 50-50 if you want to put it that way. Because his last performance was bad. People say he lost. I didn't think he lost. And he's changed trainers as well. I think Teofimo having a good camp. He's got money. Dedicate himself against Josh Taylor. I think he beats Josh Taylor and he gets his standing back. You know what I mean? Because they were talking about him moving out. But you bring a good point. He ain't been active, man. After beating Thingy, he ain't done nothing, bro. He's inactive. As soon as they got all that money from ESPN, it's like these dudes don't want to fight no more. They don't want to be active. I'm used to the Mike Tysons, right? I remember Mike Tyson was up and coming. He beat Trevor Burbick, and he's straight back in there, bro. Bone Crusher Smith. with a couple of months in. I think 3 months or 2 months, wherever it was. Then after that, he back in there against Tony Tucker. Shit. And then after that, he in there against the guy who beat Larry Holmes. He in there against Michael Spinks, right? I'm like, yo, this guy is doing something like, bro, and these are all good, great fights, right? World titles, unification, straight back to back. Top guys. All these guys are like, have their own careers. Some of the fight, Tony Tucker, Bone Crusher Smith, wasn't a good, but I'm used to that kind of, that's when, but to me, in the 80s, the late 80s, boxing was high, bro. It was high. Go ahead.
Yeah, so that's how you keep your tools sharp. You keep your tools sharp when you use it. And, Lopez, in my mind, is more businessman than boxer these days. He had the whole debacle with, what was that, the application that with Snoop Dogg. I forget what it was.
Oh, you talking about
What was the application where?
I know what you're talking about. I can't remember the name now, but yeah.
So the platform where the Kambosos fight was supposed to happen initially, and that bombed, and he was out for like a year, however long it was. Yeah. So Lopez is more businessman than boxer nowadays, and he's again, there needs to be some consistency, and with his career, there hasn't been. In fact, I would argue that at this point in his career, the only consistency he's shown is having been inconsistent. All right, out of the ring, not looking good when you're in the ring, losing. You have done nothing since the Lomachenko fight. And how long ago was that fight?
Yeah, it was years ago, about 2 years ago now, right?
Yeah, longer than that, I think. However long but look, it's been a minute, right? Lomachenko has been a minute. You're not even fighting in that same weight class. And Lomachenko didn't necessarily look good in his last fight. So really, riding the coattails of that win at this point is kind of weak. So at some point you got to do something, and look, if Lopez can beat Taylor, then I will give him all the credit in the world. He's back. I just don't think it's going to happen.
All right, cool. All right. Did David Benavidez versus Caleb Plant? That's coming up, right? What do you think about that?
That's
fight?
March 25. So that's 4 days before my birthday.
Okay, man. I'll try to remember. All right. So what are you saying about that one?
I like Benavidez. I think Plant will make it interesting for the first half of the fight, but I think he will succumb to Benavidez's pressure. If you go back and look at the fight with Durrell and Plant, Durrell was actually in that fight up until the point of the stoppage, but Durrell was fighting Plant on even terms. Plant was the 8th, 9th round. He was able to land a left hook that not Benavidez, Durrell. Plant was able to land a left hook that Durrell didn't see coming, and that was it. Fight over. But up until that point, they were fighting on even terms. I think that at this point in his career, David Benavidez is bringing more to the table than a guy like Durrell.
Yes, absolutely. I think Durrell, the early 2000s, whatever, is it or 2010? He was the dog. He was that guy. Or which Durrell was it? The dog or was the other brother? Which Durrell brother was it? It was the dog.
I can't remember which one it was.
Yeah. But the Durrells have been done. I mean, I remember one of them fought Carl Froch years ago, so they've been done for the longest. I know they're trained by Javon Hill, Sugar Hill from Detroit, whatever. But they really and true, they shouldn't even be in the ring. You know what I mean? A lot of these guys, they way past their sell by date, because to me, Plant ain't even all that. Like, he done the Gravedigger thing, like Tito Ortiz, and that's the thing. Everyone like, oh, this guy Plant, man. Oh, he's this. I was like, yo, bro, like, this is the same dude who got smacked up by Canelo just the other day. Like, you know what I mean? He's okay. He's okay, but I don't get it twisted. Like, this is not a huge win. You know what I'm saying? you know, and the super middleweight division, it should have been Benavidez's division. I think they're fighting that super middleweight. He should have been his division from a long time ago, bro. And I think Benavidez should have moved up to light heavyweight a time ago. But Benavidez, I don't see how he gonna lose this fight. I see him walking down Caleb Plant. I see Caleb Plant throwing everything at him. Benavidez just laughing and just chopping him up like Corrales. Just chop him down. Diego Corrales beating him down. I see he beat him anyway. You know what I mean? He could take what Caleb Plant's bringing, and he's just gonna beat him down. Go ahead.
No, I agree. I agree. I think it'll be competitive early, but then Benavidez will bring the pressure, and I think he'll ultimately prove too much for Caleb Plant. I don't expect that this fight is going to go the distance.
No. My man says 50-50. He said it's 50-50, to be honest. I say Caleb Plant, he really showed his vulnerabilities to me. You know what I mean? I think that the build-up's going to be interesting. Yeah, Plant's getting sparked. Everyone, Lossie's on it as well, bro. Yeah, he going to get sparked out, man. I think a lot of time me, Lossie and Fight don't agree. I think the only thing I agree with the Hurd fight, with the Tony Harrison fight, I feel like they got him at the right time. But that's the only thing, you know, I kind of disagree with on that one, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I feel you're gonna knock him out. I mean, I think Anthony Joshua's supposed to be fighting someone soon. What do you think about Joe Joyce fighting the Chinese guy?
Yeah, so I was gonna ask you about that. Interesting fight. Can't wait to see it. I think it should be a good fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it should be a good fight. Maybe it goes a distance. You know, I mean, that Zhang.
Zhang. It's good. Yeah.
Zili, I think his last name is his family name is Zili. So Zili, I think that's a large heavyweight. He's a big guy. So be interesting to see what happens there. But I would expect that Joyce should win. To be honest with you, I'm not impressed by either guy. But Joyce is probably beaten. In fact, not probably, has beaten the better opposition. So he should be the favorite, and rightfully so.
Yeah, I agree as well. Well, there's some interesting fight. I was just putting out Showtime got some good fights. So Showtime got they got the Josh Taylor fight and they got the Benavidez fight. So they're doing pretty well. Showtime. I think they were talking about Steve Espinosa who's going to leave, but I don't think so. Yeah, tough fight. Yeah, for Joe. Yeah, I agree, Lossie. Yeah, but Steve, I think Showtime is trying to get the best fights possible. You know what I mean? They trying to do for the network, ESPN and Showtime. I think they're doing a tremendous job of getting some of the good fight. The Tank Davis and Garcia fight. It's a celebrity fight. You know what I mean? Can Ryan Garcia turn into that guy that they want him to? They want him to turn into the Oscar De La Hoya. And can Tank, be that guy, that the face of the zone? Because I think this is the first time, leaving Al Heyman, he's fighting on the zone. He's fighting on a different platform.
So wait. Hold on a second. I thought Davis Garcia was Showtime pay-per-view.
Nah, man. I think it's on the zone out here. Where is it? It's on the zone or not? Where do I go here? Tank. Oh no, let me see. I think what's on the Ryan Garcia and things they're on the zone, man. Let me see. I'll pull it up though. Things on the zone, man.
So so I'm looking at ESPN's website, and you know what? I'm sorry. That's Benavidez's plan. My apologies.
Yeah, it's on the zone. I got it here. Sorry,
that fight is on the zone. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
wow.
It's on the zone. Yeah, because De La Hoya, Golden Boy. Yeah, sorry, I didn't pull it up.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
it's
Well,
on the zone. Yeah. Because they're trying to build a star. That's what I'm trying to tell you when I said when they derailed Conor Benn, that killed the UK market for the zone. That's why Eddie Hearn and they're wilding and screaming. That's why they're screaming. You know what I'm trying to say? Because it's like, yo, I'm trying to build a UK star to get the zone viewers, to get the zone, the people from the UK to purchase the zone to watch Conor Benn, to make Conor Benn the face of the zone. Because Joshua is one of them guys there that, people as a fan base built in. But even with Joshua now, it's been so long since he's going to fight. And since the losses from Usyk, people want to watch Joshua again. And he's not accessible no more on Sky. He's not on Sky Sports. Both the fights on Sky Sports, and we both watch him lose. So Eddie needs a new star. So with Golden Boy, he needs another face. He hasn't got Canelo no more, so they want to do a star. So that's what this is about. Yeah, you know what I'm saying, Lo. So yeah, it's on the zone. Yeah, it's on the zone. I don't give a shit. I'm gonna stream that shit like I'm gonna do the rest.
Quite naturally.
I mean, yeah, I'm gonna stream that shit.
But question is this the zone or the zone pay-per-view?
The zone pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So I might pay for it. £7, whatever. I'll see how much to pay per view because what they try to do, they're trying to make me pay monthly, and they were gonna charge me pay per view. I was like, hell no. So if I gotta pay like £19 one time, I'll do that. You know what I mean? I don't. So, but you see, I'll pay it one time and just leave it alone. But I'm not paying the monthly subscription that they got me down for. That's a waste of time because I don't understand why you make me pay a month and I can't watch the fights you're trying to make me pay per view. So that's what they're trying to tell. They really and truly, these fights really, they should be on a network, a normal network. But what they're trying to do, they're trying to make people pay money that we watch for free. The network, right? The network gets money from the viewership that people subscribe to. But see, when they live stream it, right? We can see it online if we can find the links. But the links break up every now and again. But these people are trying to catch the online market and trying to tap into that market. Like, no, you shouldn't watch it free. We should charge you. I was like, you crazy? You ain't charging me shit. You're not gonna, you're not gonna. That's so the zone is still looking for that star. So out of these two, whoever wins that fight, they're gonna market. And the zone are invested in Ryan Garcia. Yeah, the zone, taking £20 a month. Yeah, see, plus pay-per-view. So that it'd be more. Yeah, it's not worth. Yeah, £10. So if you're with, it's not worth it, man. I'm not paying no extra money. Hell no, they're crazy. So they can get lost.
Yeah. So it's crazy. It's you got to pay $25 a month or however much it is, $250 a year, and then the best fights are pay-per-view. No. Really, boxing needs to go back to its roots, which is network television.
Yes.
And the fighters get paid based on their ability to draw, and the advertisers pay for the sport as it used to be back in the day.
Well, Don King had a thing in it. He realized that we can charge extra money rather than network, and that's why the networks decided to do pay-per-view. So they tried to rob the fact, because I remember all the Mike Tyson fight were all over the world, right? And then they said after Mike Tyson beat Spinks, we're gonna make it so that if you want to watch Mike Tyson, you have to pay for it. So they said this thing, you need to be on Sky. So Sky had this thing, you need to get Sky. If you got Sky, then you can watch the Mike Tyson fights because they're gonna be on that for free. And that's what they did. And they took it off normal TV to launch Sky with Murdoch. And I think they took the money and they never invested money back into the normal thing. Now, Sky was, having boxing on Sky, the average person didn't have Sky at the time. They didn't, were poor. But they tried to make boxing for the rich people. They didn't want it for the everyday person. When Ali fought, the whole world watched. When Joe Louis watched, I mean, we the whole world watched. When Mike Tyson was the heavyweight champion, up until when he beat Michael Spinks, that was on networks. That was on normal ITV. I watched that in the morning. Then after that, all these fights, you had to get Sky. So I told my mom, I was 15, Mom, you get Sky. My mom got Sky. And then I see Mike Tyson lose. I couldn't believe. I said to my mom, I was like, Mom, he didn't lose. Mom, she told me, yeah, he lost. I said, no, he didn't lose. She goes, go watch it for yourself. Depression set in, bruv. I believed everything what they said about Mike. No one could ever beat that guy. And I had to sit there to see him get busted up by Buster Douglas. I watch it now. I appreciate Buster Douglas now. Now, when I watch it, I appreciate Buster Douglas. But my gosh, what a hit that was. And, that was a hit. That was a massive hit. And, so that, Don King, I can understand why he wanted to go for the money. It was more money. But if you kept Mike on network TV, right? Kept that whole thing on network TV, because remember HBO, let me tell you something, boxing helps HBO. That's the funny thing about it. They put HBO on the map. Who was HBO before
right? Nobody cared.
No one cared.
Actually, listen, I'm actually pretty old. So I remember like when pay TV was over the air, like literally over the air. And HBO, if memory serves me correctly, was one of those pay TV stations that was over the air. So in here in the United States, this is before cable. You only had broadcast TV, and there were broadcast pay TV stations years ago.
Yeah.
Meaning you would have a box that you would put on top of your TV.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah. And then the box would pick up a signal that was broadcast over the air, and then would scramble the signal so you would be able to watch it. And then you'd have to pay a monthly fee.
Yeah.
And HBO, if memory serves me correct, started out as one of those types of services.
Yeah. But we see what they invested in the boxing, because boxing already had the biggest market, and they did it. And I ain't gonna lie to you, now looking at it, right? When they took boxing and the way they did some of the stars, they did them beautifully. I mean, I was looking at some of the vignettes that they did on Mike Tyson, and did on Mike McCallum, and numerous stars they did it. Oh, it's beautiful. Oh, the production. I mean, you go on YouTube and look at HBO production of boxing. My gosh, it's beautiful. It really is.
It was. I agree.
It was first class, man. The only thing I say about it, later on, it became, the presenters became old. They didn't update them. They didn't have younger, because I remember, you used to have Sugar Ray Leonard commentating and stuff like that. Roy Jones was commentating in his prime, commentating beautiful commentary when he did
George Foreman
commentating. You know what I'm saying? Larry Merchant and stuff like that. Then it became, these guys became old, and they never updated a more younger thing, and more appreciative. They became more critical. Larry Merchant, because he looking for another Mike Tyson. He loved that kind of Mike Tyson ferocity, and he was always you didn't live up to that kind of standard. And I think that's where it started getting wrong, and that's where you start all the critics. Because before that, if you see when he started, he didn't used to criticize no boxers, gave them all the respect, and then later on it became jaded. It became jaded and old, and this and that. And you get, even on Sky Sports, right, when we're watching the commentary, it's very hard to watch the commentary. It's very hard because they have agendas. They've already picked the winner already, and they're trying to persuade the fighters, the fans watching, this guy is going to win, and they're lying on the scorecards. And the fighters have an agenda. Sky Sports is very corporate now. It's very corporate. And it's not easy. I mean, if you watch the Clarissa Shields fight for yourself in the UK, watch that, listen to the commentary. So it makes you feel sick. You're like, yo, what are they watching?
I remember from HBO how biased the commentation was.
It never used to be.
No, you're right. It didn't used to be, way back in the day. But when we got to the Mayweather era, and especially during the Mayweather era, and the Oscar De La Hoya era which preceded the Mayweather era. The boxing commentary over at HBO had just become grotesquely biased.
Yeah. Well, Oscar De La Hoya was bad because he lost to Ike Corte. They said he lost, and then they tried to sweep it under the bridge like it never happened. You know what I mean? I'm glad he got done over by Trinidad. I'm glad he lost to Trinidad. But I think the end of the 1990 with Trinidad and De La Hoya, I think after that, it started to get, that way. I mean, but you see, they're on network TV. I mean, they ain't got no more Mike Tysons coming through. And Mike Tyson went to Showtime. And even Mike Tyson on Showtime, the way they used to talk about Mike Tyson on Showtime, I was like, my gosh, they had fans berating Mike Tyson, talking to him. I mean, he used to get so much abuse, man. I said, and the thing in the UK, they never used to criticize Mike Tyson in the UK. The commentary was always respectful of Mike Tyson. I remember I was watching Corey Spence versus Ricardo Mayorga. It was very respectful commentary. When I listened to the American, they were just he's running, he's slapping. How is he winning this fight? I was like, listen to these guys. I'll give you another one. Mayweather versus Diego Corrales. This is the first manipulation Jim Langley put out there. Listen to this, right? He said that Diego Corrales coming into the fight, he moved up to lightweight, right? He was going to move up to lightweight, so he vacated the belt, then he came down. But he didn't actually fight at the weight. So when did he move up? He didn't actually do that. So when Mayweather beat him, they try to make out like Mayweather drained him. But Mayweather, coming into the fight, he actually moved up to lightweight and went against Corey Burton or Manuel Augustus, and actually fought at lightweight. He actually fought at lightweight in a brutal fight and came back down to super feather.
right?
Right.
But they didn't say that. Like, they didn't say that on the commentary. They
Yeah,
didn't even
well,
mention that.
the bias against Mayweather, Floyd Mayweather, the HBO bias against Floyd Mayweather was legendary. I mean, it was sickening.
It was crazy. It was absolutely, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, and look, I'm not someone who particularly likes Floyd Mayweather outside of the ring. But inside of the ring, Floyd Mayweather is brilliant. And there's just no two ways about it.
Yeah.
And you have to recognize his brilliance inside the ring.
Yeah.
And when you fall short of recognizing what is painfully apparent, now let's just set aside for a minute all of Floyd Mayweather antics outside of the ring, which are many. And if you want to call a man a clown, if you want to call him an idiot, if you want to call him whatever derogatory name you want to call him for what he does outside of the ring, I'm all for it. No argument from me. And I'm probably going to agree with you with whatever you want to call him. But inside the ring, the man is brilliant. There's no two ways about it. And I just thought, I mean, if you go and look at the prime example, the HBO commentary for the De La Hoya Mayweather fight was just ridiculous. Okay, I mean, it was ridiculous.
It was bad.
The anti-Mayweather bias exhibited in the commentary for that fight was sickening. Honestly, really. I mean, here it is. You have a guy in Floyd Mayweather coming up from one. Look, listen, Mayweather is honestly a 140-pound fighter. That's who he was, fighting at junior middle. The B-side to Oscar De La Hoya, who basically had it his way for that fight. Everything De La Hoya wanted for that fight, he got. Only thing Mayweather wanted was to get De La Hoya in the ring, the size of the ring, the weight, gloves, all that. Mayweather, De La Hoya stipulated all of that. And during the course of the fight, you have Floyd Mayweather essentially putting on a master class. And the commentary, the HBO commentary wants to talk about everything other than the master class unfolding in front of them. I mean, literally, it was so bad that at one point, the HBO commentators were comparing how they physically look. De La Hoya is a handsome man, while Floyd Mayweather is just a nice-looking man. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, I remember that. But this is the thing when they got carte blanche to say anything. There was no. They had this. Had got to the point where Larry Merchant and Larry Merchant was the top guy before that. There was another guy before him who was actually very good, but they went to Showtime. Larry Merchant and Jim Lantley. There was no one to tell them. They run the production, so they could just do what they want and say what they want, and there was no pushback other than. I remember on the internet, there was no pushback from the internet to criticize these people. We had to just sit and take it and be upset. Now, if you one that bothered me is like if you listen to Mayweather in the Hatton fight in the UK, they give Mayweather the credit, right? They give Mayweather all the credit in the UK. When you watch the American one, right? The American one, my God, Manio stood was rubbing it in. He ain't seen nothing like Ricky Hatton. I believe Ricky's gonna do this and Ricky gonna do that and this, that, the other. Even though he called out the check hook when it came down the pipe. But he was on it like Ricky gonna do this, Ricky gonna do that. I was like, what's wrong with this Manio stood here? And why he want Floyd to lose like that? And why can't you call it because Ricky something special? I don't think Mayweather seen nothing like him. He put a lot of pressure on Mayweather. I think Mayweather's in trouble now. He gonna have to fight. I was like, yo, bro, you selling the fight, but bro, you sound like you want Mayweather to lose, man. And that was my thing. I was like, yo, why? And even the Castillo fight, right? The first one. Listen, if you ever want to watch the Castillo fight and you want to hear unbiased commentary, watch the UK version. They had Mayweather up on the scorecards. In fact, they had the scorecards what the judges had. The same scorecards. The same. I think it was a split decision. And they had Mayweather because they knew Mayweather. They couldn't believe it was a split in the UK, bro. The UK version was beautiful.
it's funny because the UK version now, we don't have that. I think it was Ian Dark and Glenn McCorry, and used to have Nicky Piper sometimes as well, right? The UK version, they was good, but they got rid of them guys there. They brought Adam Smith over, and he does storylines. What Adam Smith is bringing storylines like wrestling, and Eddie Hearn is on that. They want to bring storylines like some gimmicks, like wrestling, like boxing. We already want a storyline out that this is going to go this way. This is the script. And it's like, nah, bruh. Boxing's never been scripted. It's never, rip up the script and call the action. And, you know, Teddy Atlas was another one who said, I want the government to come in. I was like, he needs to stop with that shit right there. Because the government is corrupt. Why would you want the government to run boxing? You crazy? I like the way boxing's on the Wild Wild West, but at the same time, I know what he means, because something's got to happen in some of these dodgy scorecards. I agree with that. Like, I agree with that. But you know, and he should know, that if the guy's bringing the revenue in, and he's bringing the most money into the thing, they gonna slide his way. Yeah, they go the home fight, the way fighter knows that. Like, I know that as an amateur trainer going into someone else's den, you know that what it is. If it's a close fight, the home fighter should get it, right? If it's a close fight, that's how it should be. You know what I'm saying? And you got any problem? We do a run a rematch back, but that's how boxing is. But Teddy Atlas, when they actually just rob someone blatant in ESPN, Teddy Atlas used to lose the plot. And people like that about him because he showed he cared. He cared about the sport. He didn't like the way that these guys train hard and they would get robbed like that. It's unfair. It's unfair. But I don't believe in bringing the government in, and I don't believe in the UFC format, how Dana White runs it, because he underpays the fighters. When the boxer can get the majority of their money. In fact, the YouTubers have changed the whole dynamic. They don't have no promoter. They don't have no manager. Right? They get all the money. They get all the money. So them YouTubers are doing something else. But the only thing is the caliber of fighting is terrible. They actually done a tag team boxing. I watched a little bit. I turned it off. I couldn't watch that. I said, I can't do that. I can't. They had tag team boxing. So, you know, you get beat up. You just go to the corner, tag your other guy in, and he goes in and tries to beat the guy up. It's crazy. I said, I can't watch that. I said, this is foolishness, man. I couldn't believe they had that on the Zone. But it shows how the Zone sunk so badly down. They'll do anything to put money on. Go ahead, Fight Doctor.
Yeah, so no, it's and I agree. The HBO, I honestly don't miss HBO boxing, to be completely honest with you, because their bias left a bad taste in my mouth, and that lingers to this day. I'm all about giving credit where credit is due. And, I just feel that, say what you will about, say what you will about Floyd Mayweather and his antics outside of the ring. You have to give the man credit for what he did inside the ring. Now, if you want to say, he ducked certain fighters, or, he didn't fight certain fighters in his prime, this, that, and the third, fine. Okay? But you have to give the man credit for what he was able to do inside the ring. You can't deny that. And it seems to me HBO went out of their way to deny the man credit that he justly deserved. So I'm glad that they're out of the boxing business, because I'm honestly, I'm honestly offended as a boxing fan at what was going on in HBO and their blatant bias. I don't want to accuse them of having been racist, but it kind of smells like it.
I don't think so. I remember they were saying about Lennox Lewis had a glass chin. They're saying the Klitschko's, they never gonna be a world champion. They put these agendas out there. It was them, because I remember listening to the narrative, because they didn't. I feel like Larry Merchant and Jim Lantley, because they was untested. Anything they put out, the media, us as the public, ate it up. Let me give you this one, and this is the one that me and you can dispute on. They say Shane Mosley is one of the greatest lightweights of all time. I'm like, how? Like, can you tell me how? Like, this is what I remember they said that, right? And I said, okay, I didn't know any better. I said, okay, he must be. But then I look at his resume. I said, you wasn't even undisputed. Like, who'd you beat? Billy Holiday. Who'd you beat at lightweight? Who'd you beat at lightweight? Say you're the greatest lightweight of all time, one of the greatest, right? I'm like, I don't see it. I just don't see the resume. I know you have a great skill set, but I remember you went against not Jesse James. I think he Jesse James later. I think it was another guy he went against, John Molina, and he struggled against that guy. And I was like, yo, why you? But they regarded him as one of the greatest lightweight of all time, and yet he never fought no one. Because they could just throw out these narratives. Now you check it, you're like, well, he didn't really fight no one, like, you know. Then he moved up to welterweight and beat Oscar De La Hoya, and now it's like, okay, yeah, he's doing something. He beat Oscar De La Hoya. Oscar De La Hoya is pretty good. He was like regarded as one of the best welterweights, and Shane beat him pretty fairly, turning southpaw and everything. I was like, okay, yeah, he great. And then he went against Vernon Forrest, and he got dealt with Oscar De La Hoya. You know what I mean? And it's like, yo, unfortunately, he was the greatest, one of the greatest. Rematch, lost again. Vernon Forrest was like, well, I'm number one. Then he loses to Mayorga. Like, yo, hold up, Mayorga's. He ain't better than Shane, but he said, you know what I'm trying to say? But the narrative's already put out there. They've been put out there, and there's a lot of that. I'll give another one, right? And I'll give another one. This is what bothered me, kind of bothered me still. They said that Roberto Duran was the fighter of the 70s, right? Of the 70s. And how? When you got Muhammad Ali fighting all these great fights, it should have been Muhammad Ali of the decade. It was the 70s. So the fighter of the 70s was, they said it was Roberto Duran. I'm like, how? And they said he was the greatest lightweight. I'm like, okay, he barely got out of Ken Buchanan. He hit him low. That's a disqualification in anyone's eyes. And why don't you give that guy a rematch? Ken Buchanan, he won a rematch. Roberto Duran would never give him a rematch. He was getting outboxed. And he, you know, in Roberto Duran's career, he always got outboxed by the better boxer. Kirkland Lang and Ken Buchanan. He never, but they say he's the greatest lightweight. You know, his thing is, when these people put these things out, you can't, there's no pushback to say it. And we could argue about is he not, he was a great lightweight. Is he the greatest? Nah, I don't know. But, you know, I said to myself, these guys, when they back a guy like Roy Jones and stuff, they back certain fighters. And Roy Jones was great, but the fighter of the 2000, of the 90s had to be probably Evander Holyfield when he beat Mike Tyson. And probably Parnell Whitaker, even between the two, because he beat Chavez, and this didn't get the decision, even between the two of them. And the reason why I say Evander Holyfield first, because when Evander Holyfield won against Buster Douglas, right? And you know, he came from the cruiserweight, undisputed cruiserweight, it wasn't on the HBO. So they wouldn't give him no credit, and they invested in Mike Tyson. So the way they looked at it is that we're not going to give this guy credit because we still want Mike Tyson to be our guy. Mike's still our guy. He's the one we put a long-term contract on. And that's what we're going to do. So what they did, they then kept downplaying Evander Holyfield's accomplishments. Every time he got in the ring, look at this fight, Doctor. He was underweighed. Oh, the guy's always had more reaches than him. And he's a small heavyweight. In fact, he's fighting for his life. Then they got this drug thing going on. Okay, fine. That's what I heard. Never been proven, but still. Every time Evander Holyfield got in there, by anyone's estimation, that is a mammoth task. George Foreman. They said he's one of the most hardest hitting heavyweights of all time. Granted, every man he got in there, he hurt. Trust me. Evander beats him. He beat Larry Holmes, right? Oh, they're old. Yo, Larry beat Ray Mercer just not too long ago before that. Beat Ray Mercer.
Yeah, Holmes had an amazing career after the Tyson.
Yes. Yeah, and you see now you're looking at it, right? And then he's going in. Look at the size of Riddick Bowe, and you look at the side of Evander, and you see Evander's one of them guys there. If he was still undisputed, let's say he beat Riddick Bowe, he didn't have no problem fighting Lennox Lewis. He would have fought Lennox Lewis. Don King came in and stopped that and said, no, you're with me. We ain't gonna fight no UK guy. And for the whole decade, Don King wanted Lennox Lewis to go. He didn't want to go with him. Let's let the fight go on, you know, and that's where I feel where Don King, in a way, and some of these guys is trying to control the division. You kind of put yourself out in the picture, you know what I'm trying to say? Because really and truly, you say you want to make the best fights, make the best fights. You know, the belt shouldn't be thrown in the bin. Lennox Lewis should have got his chance against Evander Holyfield or Riddick Bowe, and then the heavyweight division would have still been unified. All through the 90s, it would have still been unified. Lennox would have had a rematch with Evander, a rematch with Riddick Bowe a couple of times. Mike Tyson could have got Mike Tyson, Lennox Lewis earlier, much earlier. You know, and you look at this whole thing and it's like, yo, it's a disaster. It's a disaster. But in the meantime, the commentary team, right, they had agendas because they like Mike Tyson. They was going to say, I mean, when I listened to the commentary of Evander Holyfield, I was like, what, these guys, you know how hard it is. And you see, Vander's one of them guys. He never complained. He just carried on, you know, Bible guy. And a lot of people just quietly like Evander. They like, and I can appreciate Evander now more so than anything. And a lot of the guys, even Riddick Bus Douglas, because I realized that some of these guys didn't get the shine. It wasn't the so-called corporate guy like Mike. Mike had the push. You know, he had all the backing. He's supposed to do this because Mike was the guy, and I was a Mike guy because everyone else said he was a Mike guy. But when I look at all the other fighters, there were some great fighters, man. There were some real great fighters, great heavyweights. Michael Dokes, real great. That whole era, you know, Burt Cooper. There's loads of them. There was some great fighters, man. Gold medalists and everything. They were all
the 90s. The 90s was a good era for the heavyweight division.
They were all achievers. They were all achievers. There was no, you know, Lennox Lewis at the end of the end of the thing, he comes out on top, right? But the Evander Holyfield and Lennox Lewis, I feel if they fought, Lennox Lewis would have fought. I think Lennox would have lost against Evander. Because
I definitely would have liked Holyfield's chances against a pre-Emmanuel Stewart Lennox Lewis. Tough fight, but a younger Evander Holyfield probably would have had a little bit more than Lewis was able to deal with.
Well, Oliver McCall. If Oliver McCall, this is the thing about Oliver McCall. He gave him trouble, right? Oliver McCall, even Buster Douglas versus Lennox Lewis. It would have been a hard fight. Lewis was tough enough and fast enough to do it and arrogant enough but he was getting hit. He was getting hit a lot. And eventually he was going to get touched up by one of these guys out there. You know what I'm trying to say? So it's just the way the era ended. But in terms of the commentary, it was just the commentary didn't help out because they had agendas and you know, and they try to tell us, they were telling us as fans how to think. And that's constantly been the theme of what's going on. The only thing I say in this era now, you can't, these people like Steve, we don't respect these other guys, these commentators. We don't. Anyone got says don't respect them, right? Adam Smith. That's why he had to retire. He had to sit down because we can push back on some of these bad commentary. Like their Twitter will get blown up. They go, "Would you say like I don't like what you're saying about our fight?" We live in the area that you say anything, you can get a pushback. When before you didn't know where this guy lived or you didn't know how to argue back. So that's the only thing you in this day and age you can say something. So someone like Bud Crawford, you know, he comes out and he's got the public behind him saying, "Yo, I came to Errol Spence. I offered him this, that. He don't want to fight." So everyone pushed back on Errol Spence. Errol Spence like, nah, you need to get a belt. So I went and got a belt. What's going on now? Oh, you need to do this. You need to. The guy don't want to fight me, bro. Don't want to fight me, bro. I mean, you know, I don't think back in the days you could avoid anyone. You could try to, but the public peer pressure was too much. You couldn't avoid. But these days, people don't care. Do they fight though?
No, but again, so the typical boxing fan, the casual boxing fan, they don't have a clue. You know, so they're told what to think by the so-called boxing media.
Yeah.
And they run with these narratives that really honestly, you know, and look, there's a lot of boxing media out here, the old media, the old boxing media, who have their own agendas and are not too much better than what HBO was back in the day. And I can name some names, but I'm not going to justify their nonsense by naming their names because they know who they are. You know, they know that they're bullshitting the boxing fan, and hopefully, the casual audience will wake up and understand and realize what's going on. You know, for years, HBO sold us Triple G, the myth, the monster. Okay? And what happened? What happened?
Nothing. He's still here though. He ain't doing nothing though, is he?
He's fighting guys 16-2. Barely winning.
Yeah.
Against 16-2 guys.
Yeah. Okay? Can't believe he's still there. He ain't fought the Charlo yet. And no one's pushing him to fight the Charlo.
He hasn't fought a serious threat at 160 in how long now? I mean, when was his when was the last time he's fought a serious threat at 160 pounds? His weight division where he holds 2 belts.
Yeah, and you know the thing, and there's no push to make him fight the Charlo. In fact, people don't even act like the Charlo's even there. Like, how can you have two twin brothers, right? Twin brothers who are world champions and no one even talks about that, and then like because they with Al Heyman like they don't exist. Like that has never happened before. Like what? That's how divided and thing that the public is, that these guys don't even get that much credit and what they've achieved. I mean, that is amazing.
two twin brothers in two different weight classes, simultaneously looking like they want to be undisputed. I mean, that is crazy. That's and you know, and I feel like you know, certain fighters are not getting credit because they're not with Eddie Hearn or not with this guy, not with that guy. And the promoters have divided the sport. I let this is why I left the space for the YouTubers to come in and say, well, we're gonna clean up, because if let me tell you something, if boxing was run like the YouTubers, we'd have all the fights, because you wouldn't have to worry about management, you wouldn't have to worry about promoters. The fighters would promote it and they'll get all the money and they fight and get all the percentage of the money, because the YouTubers do. They get all their money and they have good shows on for their fan bases. You know what I'm saying?
Well, since you brought up YouTube, then we have to talk about Jake Paul versus
Tommy
Fury. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Go ahead.
So allegedly, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but did this pay-per-view do 750,000 buys?
Yeah. They I think Tommy got 5 mil and Jay got 7.
If that's true, if that's the real number, then that's outstanding.
Yeah, but I told you, because he's got a contract with Showtime, is Jake Paul, right? And they understand that he brings a certain thing, and they just want to put MMA. They have real boxing, and they understand that he's like entertainment. He can bring the numbers up on the channel. That's what they listen. The network, all the networks care about right now is numbers. They don't give a shit what's on the channel. What's the ratings? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's why I said it's becoming like wrestling. What's the numbers? But yeah, they did good numbers. He did good numbers, and another thing is the people wanted to see it. Like, I mean, you didn't want to see it, but the majority of people, the young people, wanted to see it. Tommy Fury is from Love Island. This guy's from Disney, and he's been this, that, the other. And they said, yeah, we want to see it. And they gave the fight that the people wanted to see. It wasn't a good technical fight. They were both the novice. And it was like, yeah, that's what the people wanted to see.
Yeah,
and that's
the fight itself is trash.
Yeah,
no
but
question.
you see that there was no promoter. There was no promoter other than the network, and it was just them two who sorted it out. That's what I'm trying to say. That's what boxing needs to go back. It needs to get rid of the management, get rid of the promoters, and the two fighters promote, and they get 50. They cut it 50-50. No, I think it was 40-60, and that's how the percentage went down, and that's why they got paid. They got paid, man.
Yeah, well, 750,000. I'm still in a state of disbelief. When I saw that figure, I figured somebody had to be lying. Like, they couldn't possibly.
No,
if that's true, if that's true, it's outstanding. And,
yes, it was gonna though. Because listen. If it's social media, we live by the days of social media. He has near 20 million, bruv. Look on his social media. That's a lot. That's a lot of. This is. Remember, he's active. Not like me and you. You know, I'm not really active. I mean, we might go side net or whatever. But active, like I got 1,000, right? Maybe 13,000. I ain't got no million. Every time you go live, there's 1 million or something, 500,000 people watching you, at least 500,000 to 1 million plus, 2 million people watching your stuff. So that translates into people. That translates to numbers who are gonna pay to watch you. And then most of the people are young. I mean, I don't watch him. I'm not on TikTok. I don't know if you're on TikTok. I'm not on that thing, right? So he's on TikTok and he's on all these other applications and stuff like that. So yeah, and Tommy Fury's on all these TV programs as well. So yeah, it was gonna trace into numbers. Yeah, so I'm not surprised about the numbers. Funny enough, it did more than some fights back in the 90s, though, innit? Some pay-per-views, right?
Yes, I mean, 750,000 pay-per-views, that's a big number. Even in pay-per-views heyday, that was still a lot of pay-per-views. But in this context, that's extraordinary. I mean, two guys who are like don't sniff the top 10. Okay.
Yeah.
In an 8-round fight, nonetheless.
Yes. But you see, Mayweather set the trend for that, right? Him and Conor McGregor. That was the first inkling that they can do that, where it was a crossover, because Muhammad Ali did it years ago with Inuki, whatever, with Vince McMahon. He was the one in between that, right? But this one, Mayweather and Conor McGregor, was the first one, because the MMA crowd and boxing didn't know each other. Like, people like MMA, they don't watch boxing, right? People watch boxing, do not watch MMA. It's just what it is, right?
I watch both of them. Like, I like John Jones and I like boxing. I like both of them. I like women's boxing as well. I watch women's boxing as well, right? But the majority of guys I talk to, that was not MMA. What watch MMA for? Guys laying down. When they did that fight, they bridged the gap. When they bridged the gap, it allowed Jake Paul and it allowed KSI to say, these guys on gamers, we can do that. I can do that. And they did. They did it. And that's why they're here. That's why they're here. Mayweather was one. He's the father of this thing here. Mayweather and McGregor. McGregor hasn't done anything of it after, but Mayweather's took it. And Mayweather's still doing it. Still doing it. I mean, he had a fight in London the other day. No one cared about the fight because it was to do with the opponent. But he get 2 mil, 3 mil every time he fights out. So yeah, they did numbers, man. They did numbers. So I wasn't surprised about the numbers. I'm not gonna hate on them at all. Boxing gives the fights that the people want to see. Now, we talked about the cards coming up. These Ryan Garcia Tank, that's a fight. Yeah, it's gonna do good numbers. It should do good numbers, and the rest of them. So that's what all they're trying to do. So boxing needs to get itself together. If they don't, there's more. I mean, the YouTubers, they're gonna run out afterward because they've have a small pool of guys they're gonna fight. KSI versus Logan Paul, KSI versus Jake Paul versus KSI, Tommy Fury versus KSI. It can only go so far. So boxing, in the meantime, they're gonna keep doing their numbers, and boxing needs to sort itself out. If you really want to make yourself the number one combat sport, you need to get numbers, because UFC, they just got John Jones number one now, and they're gonna put him against Stipe. I'm watching that joint. I don't know if you know about Stipe, but that's going to be a good fight in UFC, because I wasn't interested in UFC until they had a name brand like Conor McGregor, John Jones, Ronda Rousey. Because seeing Ronda Rousey getting her ass whipped, I remember when I watched that, I enjoyed that. What do you think about that fight, Doctor?
I didn't see that fight.
You didn't say I getting the ass beat, Ronda Rousey, no?
No, so that was this weekend, and what was happening is I was actually entertaining.
No, years ago, Ronda Rousey getting knocked out years ago. I'm talking about.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, I still don't think I saw that fight. No.
Oh, see, okay, all right, fair enough. But you see Conor McGregor get beat up by Khabib, or get his head wrenched off, and then the guy jumped over the cage and shit.
Yeah, I did see that. I saw that.
You see what I'm trying to tell you? See, this is what I'm saying. Like, so that's combat, right? So what the average person can do MMA, is easy to do MMA than it is to do boxing. And I'm trying to say the young people, they watch MMA easy. Like when I talk to young guys, the boxing gyms are packed, but you see, MMA came across because of wrestling. Wrestling left the window open for kind of MMA, and that UFC joint just came through. And Dana White, Dana White's pushing that slap league. You know about that madness, innit? Oh, Fight Doctor, don't know about that? Fight Doctor, there's a slap league Dana White's pushing.
I'm sorry, you cut out there at the end. Sorry.
I said, yeah, Dana White's pushing the slap league. So they basically stand there and slap each other in the face. You know about that?
Oh no, I am. To be honest with you, I'm more of a boxing fan than the MMA guy. So I mean, like, I watched John Jones fight over the weekend. So so John Jones, of course, I'm gonna watch his fights, and I appreciate him. But I'm not really heavy into the MMA.
No, this is not MMA. This is a slap league, bro. Dana White's got a new league called a slap league. So he had bare knuckle boxing, right? They try to do that shit, that craziness. Paulie Malignaggi must have jacked up his hand. They got this new league where they stand there and let a guy slap you in the face.
Okay, I've seen YouTube videos, but I didn't realize that it had become a thing.
Yeah, Dana White put money in making a league. He's trying to push that as a league, like people just letting someone slap them in the face, like fuck your shit all the way. I see people with their eardrum burst, bleeding, nose bleeding, getting knocked out from an open hand slap. So that's the madness they putting in there. They're doing anything to get numbers up. But I say boxing is the number one combat sport, but boxing needs to take it seriously. Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence, it needed to be done, man. It needed to be done. I mean, my gosh, I'm like, yo, bruh. And the funny thing about Errol Spence, right? When he was coming, they called him the truth and all that stuff. And he was coming through and it's like, yo, this guy's all right, And you look at Bruce Ennis and I'm like, but somewhere along the Bruce Ennis in his last fight, it's like, it looked like they ain't got the hunger no more. Like, boxers, Mike Tyson was coming through, he's hungry. Who's hungry? Let me ask you a question, Fighter. Who's hungry now? Who wants to be great? Who wants to be that guy in boxing right now? Do you even know?
Who's hungry?
Yeah, who wants to be that guy? Like, I want my face to be the face of boxing. because back in the early 2000s and the years before, someone always wanted to be number one. They would pride themselves on trying to be the best ever. Like, who wants to be that now? Anyone in boxing? Do you know? Because I can go to the pound for pound, and I can tell you that even though they're on the pound for pound, they don't be number one.
I mean, I would say Terrence Crawford. If he were not as old as he is right now.
I don't think he cares about boxing. I think he likes fighting, but I don't think he cares to be number one though, to be the face of boxing though.
But I mean, outside of Terrence Crawford, who's the guy who's hungry? That's an interesting question.
Yeah. Usyk, is he hungry? Usyk,
no.
Is he hungry?
No. Usyk is hungry for a payday.
Yeah. See?
That's a good question. Right? I mean, it's the sport of boxing has evolved. It's just changed. It's just not what it used to be. These guys are used to fighting twice a year, and sleeping in their silk pajamas. So
what about Tyson Fury? What about Tyson Fury? Is he hungry? Does he want to be the face of boxing?
Tyson Fury is hungry for a payday. So I saw an interview with him yesterday, I think it was, and I forget who was conducting the interview, but so he was talking about his meeting with Deontay Wilder and the state of heavyweight boxing, and so he said something that I thought was honest and at the same time profound, and which essentially corresponds with what I've been saying, that it's called prize fighting. They fight for a prize, and right now, Tyson Fury is looking for whatever fight is going to make him the most money, as he should. He's not fighting for glory. He's not necessarily hungry. He just wants whatever's going to make him the most money. And I can't say that I fault him for that. You participate in a sport where you get hit in the head for 12 rounds. So you're supposed to be looking at the upside each and every time out. So when people get to talking about ducking and this and that, I'm like, look, if you can get more money for fighting the guy on the left as opposed to fighting the guy on the right, then you're supposed to fight the guy on the left. Never mind that maybe it's an easier fight. I don't care. What fight is going to make me the most money? Okay. That's the fight I want. And if that's a guy's approach to boxing, I can't be mad at him. Because look, when you work your job, right? You go to your job because it pays you a certain amount of money. But if you get a better offer, what are you going to do? You're going to
take the better offer. Yeah, of course.
And nobody's going to be mad at you. He took this other job making more money, but it's less work. But it's more money.
Yeah.
So I'm lazy because I took a job where I work less but make more. So I'm lazy now. Does that make sense? No, it doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. But
when I remember, back in the thing, there's one thing about HBO: who dares to be great, who wants to be great. But in saying that, they messed up a lot of people's career. Did Fernando Vargas need to fight Trinidad at that point?
No, he didn't.
Didn't.
He didn't. He was too green.
Yeah, he was too green. I mean, he had a good fight with Ike Corte now, but Ike Corte was a welterweight coming up, and it was a tough fight, right? He had a good fight with Winky Wright where he could arguably lost that fight. He could have fought Winky Wright again. He could have some good fight, but he didn't need to fight Trinidad. But you see, the HBO, the network, they wanted that joint. They wanted that joint badly. They wanted... Because they wanted them. This is what I'm trying to say. HBO was pretty. They wanted another Mike Tyson kind of guy coming through, and that's the problem. They were trying to recreate that kind of Mike Tyson, so they couldn't find him. So they had a Pacquiao, right? Because they didn't like the boxing Ali, the kind of Floyd Mayweather Ali type of guy, big mouth, can box. He didn't really knock people out. He went the distance most of the time. Sometimes he knocked you out, so they didn't really appreciate that. Larry Merchant didn't really appreciate. They appreciated the guy who comes in there to knock you out. That's what they want. That's what they thought fans wanted. And I said, yeah, we do appreciate that, but we also appreciate a guy who can box and a guy who can dissect people. And I don't think in that regard, they didn't. So I don't understand why they never like Evander Holyfield, because Evander Holyfield used to always come bring that thing, but they didn't like his demeanor. So there was always something they didn't like about these fighters. Always something that, he's this, he's that. They never really gave him their credit. Never really gave him their credit. But with Mike Tyson, he could do no wrong, bro. And he could do no wrong because but the thing is, that was an anomaly. Who knocks? Even now, when you look at Mike Tyson, when he knocked people out in the way he knocked people out, I mean, who does that, bro? No one does that.
Yeah, I watched Tyson Burbick about a week ago. And,
it's crazy. You see how fast he was.
Yeah,
how exceedingly fast he was.
And Tyson is underrated in terms of his boxing ability.
Oh, he was jabbing.
A brawler.
He was a beautiful jab. He jabbed.
He stayed behind his jab.
Out jabbed him. Beautiful.
Head movement was second to none.
Yeah. He was just too fast and too ready for these guys there, because them old guys they take a couple of rounds to get warmed up. You know what I mean? He was just too on it. Like, it was just too. And this is the thing about the amateurs, right? Coming out from the amateurs and that, you maintain that speed and thing, and them old guys in there with their pro, you run them right through. As long as you can maintain your fitness, you'll run them right through. You know what I mean? That's why most of them needs to hold him. Is like, yo, slow down, young fella. Then they go, nah, I'm at my own speed, because he was 20, 21, 20, 21. Like, he fought like a young man. You know what I mean?
So he was 20 years old. He was 20 for the Burbick fight.
Yeah, he was 20, right? So,
he was 20.
so he fought like a 20-year-old. He fought fast, kept the same pace, and he was fit. And these old guys, they were like, yo, bro, like, he's too fast. Like, and he jabbed, his jab was quick. He was just, when I look at Burbick was just, it's just too quick for him, bro. And Burbick was good. He was a solid, tough guy. But the thing about Mike, he just like kept accuracy. Kept hitting. I said, yo, bro, after a while, I see them just getting wilt. They get knocked out. Larry Holmes never been knocked out before, bro. Mike Tyson,
beautiful combination punching, and then punching the accuracy of his shots. Especially that right hand. Tyson's boxing. Mike Tyson in his prime, his boxing ability is way underrated. Way underrated.
Yeah. He was elusive, but he's 20, 21. And that's what, when you look at you look at him against Buster Douglas, he's slow right down. He's slow right down.
Look, if you look at Tyson Burbick, and then very next fight you watch is Tyson Buster Douglas, it's a tale of two fighters, because it's night and day. He's not the same fighter. Mike Tyson was clearly not the same fighter by the time Douglas got his hands on him.
Well, he was the same fighter, but he did have a different value of respect, because when he went against Buster Douglas, he didn't have the same people, the same philosophy in training, and he just wasn't sharp. Because look, if you look at the fight, it's slow. The pace is very slow. And I'm trying to say, the reason why Mike could beat him, because he was faster, because he was younger and faster and more willing. But Buster Douglas, he had decent speed and stuff like that. But Mike was overwhelmingly faster than a lot of these guys, but Mike couldn't be bothered. I don't think he was even interested in that fight. He was like in the corner, say, yeah, Mike, we love you, Mike. Yeah, cool. I remember this man there. I was like, listen to that madness in the corner. We love you, Mike. I was like, yo, they're talking to Mike. Like, they feel like they need to pamper him. It's like, no. He's a fighter, bro. If you pamper him, he's gonna be soft. See, if you're using the Mike, get the fuck off the corner, Mike. Mike, you fucking losing the fight. You watch Mike when they came to the corner and killed the kid. But they never put the urgency in Mike in the corner. Mike, you all right? Yeah, I'm all right. Mike, we love you, Mike. Right. So Mike never got that urgency and kicked up his ass, because these guys, they didn't have the experience. I know Aaron Snowell, them guys there, these are caring guys. Yeah, they didn't want, they're not abusive or nothing like that. But see, Mike needs that abuse to get him off the care. So they didn't know how to call Mike's trigger. So, bro, get the fuck off the canvas, man. This guy beating you up. You understand what I'm saying? You're going to lose $1 million payday. Do you want this guy to fucking take, what? Really? Mike would have got off and whooped his ass. Mike was the same guy now. It's just that the way they talk to him. So then Mike got into fights where he needed the opponent to talk shit. That's why he got into the argument with Razor Ruddock, and that's what made Mike come to fight. See, that's why they gave him them opponents who talk shit.
Yeah, well, he wasn't. I don't think Tyson was up for the Douglas fight, but he was definitely up for the the Canadian cat. What's his name? Razor Ruddock. He was definitely up for both of those fights.
Because he talked shit. That's what I was trying to say. So look, you know why I know this though. You know why I know this stuff, because I'm in corners to fight doctor. Like I'm in amateur corners of fighters, and the certain fighters, if I don't say certain things, I'm gonna make them feel like there's no urgency. You understand? There's no urgency for them to get off and lose this thing. I was in a corner with one kid on the 2 weekends ago, and I was in the corner and he won the first 2 rounds, and the guy got a standing count, right? And I said to him, "You're losing this stuff. You understand? You get off the thing called iron to rev him up." When I got in there, he barely won that last round, and we won on the scorecards. But if I didn't do that, I would have let him just give up. You know what I'm saying? So you have to, as a trainer, be able to put that in your fight. That's why everyone looks at Manuel Stewart. He was overly amped up against Lennox Lewis because he understands the repercussions of and history, how they're going to grade him. He understood how people are going to perceive him as a trainer, a good trainer, but not a great trainer. So you see Manny casting them off like, wow, Manny's going in. But then Manny was right though, because Mike catch him with something. Man, you better do this. You don't want to be catching those silly shit, man. Because Manny been in that situation with Hearns, and everyone say, why didn't he hold? Why he do this? Why he do that? So Manny's like, all right, I'm gonna make my guy hold, because later in Manny's career, he made all them fighters hold. Because he realized, he said it ain't about boring. I don't care about boring. I just want to win. So he made these fighters hold. Lennox Lewis used to hold them now and again. Klitschko used to hold excessively, and he said, yeah, I don't give a shit. Because you know why? There was no pushback no more. There was no critics over Manny to say, well, he gonna win. We don't care. We gonna win stinking. We stink it out. We don't give a shit. But back in the day, he was like, no, we don't know boring fight. We want exciting fights. But Manny tried to do that, and when you lose, you get the criticisms. Manny said, I don't give a shit about what you think. I'm gonna do whatever I do just to get the win, because the winning will put you there. And that's what Manny was so on Lennox Lewis and Vladimir. Sometimes used to terrorize them, because he looked at it like, my reputation's on the line. But in doing that, you take some out of him though, stress him out. But Mike was bad. Mike was a bad man, bro. Like Mike was. But I think Evander Holyfield, real talk, he was that deal, from the amateurs, from the light heavyweight to cruiserweight and thing. I think overall, and Mike knew it. I think Joshua knew about Usyk. But I always say about Joshua could have beat Usyk. I feel he had the wrong game plan. I feel like he had the wrong strategy. What do you think?
Well, yeah, he definitely had the wrong strategy. There's no question about that. When you're a big heavyweight, you should fight like a big heavyweight. But I think Joshua's problem is between his ears. And if you look at if you listen to what he said in the post fight of the rematch, he said something to the effect that he's not prepared to fight 12 rounds. I mean, it was I don't exactly remember what he said, but it was something to that effect, that he's not, he's not built to fight 12 rounds. Like, dude, what are you doing? You have to approach every fight as if it's going to go the distance, because if you don't, this is what's going to happen. You're going to lose. And if you approach fights where you're not prepared to fight 12 rounds, you're at some point going to get knocked out. So the problem with Anthony Joshua is, he had it too easy coming up, fighting, nondescript opposition. And he was able to just, as a result, they never fixed the fundamental flaws, which I think the overwhelming fundamental flaw that Anthony Joshua suffers from is that he doesn't have a fighter's mentality. Dude, when you fight, you have to be ready to fight for 12 hard rounds. And that's ultimately the reason why Usyk beat him. Because Usyk came prepared with a game plan to execute over 12 rounds. Did Anthony Joshua? I don't think so. In either fight.
Yeah, well, let's hear from Robert Garcia himself, because let's talk about the split, because he done an interview and I was thinking of watching it. So let's hear from himself.
And Robert, just moving forwards, and kind of just now it's been officially announced that Anthony Joshua and yourself have parted ways. AJ's teamed up with Derek James. I was going to just get your kind of understanding on the split and where things stood when you guys decided to part ways.
You know what? Things are good. You know, I don't have anything bad to say. You know, fighters make that decision. The team, sometimes the whole team makes that decision. But you know, I've always said it, and you know, I told you and many other people that what I would like to see from Anthony is prepare himself in the United States in a gym where there's more fighters, there's world class fighters, and he chose the right place to be at. You know, Derek James is a great trainer right now, trainer of the year. You know, has great fighters, and I'm pretty sure, you know, Anthony coming to the States to train in somebody else's gym and somebody else's rules and everything is gonna make a big difference, because you know that's what I always ask for, you know, from Anthony. But you know, even if he's not with me, I'm happy that he made that decision, because that's what he needed. You know, training back home, you know, you're the comfortable person, you're the boss, you're the you know, you're just too comfortable. Plus, your whole career has been like that. The change was needed, and I'm glad he did decide to do it. You know, obviously, I'm not going to deny it. I would have loved him to be here in Riverside with me and doing the work with us. But Derek James is a great trainer. Right now, he's trainer of the year. You know, so he didn't make the wrong decision. I think Derek James is going to push him to the fullest. You know, like I said, coming to a different gym owned by somebody else is gonna make a big difference. Where you know you have a time to show up, you have your sparring partners, you know, you have your trainer there waiting for you, because your trainer also has more responsibilities.
Robert, at the conference for his fight with Jermaine Franklin, obviously Anthony did a number of interviews, and he was slightly frustrated by kind of your past comments, suggesting that maybe in the build up to the Usyk fight in the final few rounds, he'd lost the fight mentally. He said that, you know, you had a lot to say, which kind of baffled him. I was going to get your thoughts on his reaction to some of your comments and, you know, that side of things.
Well, you know what? Obviously, a fighter in the ring is always going to be, you know, challenged by so many things that people could say after the fight. You know what? Just because I was his trainer doesn't mean I'm going to lie about it. You know, I wasn't the only one that said that. Then he should be mad and he should be frustrated with the whole world, because mostly everybody said the same thing. You know, when you have a fighter and you know, does so good in one round, which you're almost about to stop your opponent, you know, it does make a big difference when the next round is totally the opposite. You know, so there was a lot to be said by so many boxing people, you know, so many boxing experts, because I'm not the only one that said that, you know. And then what happened after the fight when he grabbed the mic and all that, I think that was a lot of frustration. I think that was that had to do with maybe knowing that you were so close and you go. Maybe.
See, that's some bullshit, because he wasn't so close. See, that's the lies they told him. That's why he lost the plot. They told me he was winning the fight. He weren't winning shit. You know what I mean? That's why he lost the plot out here. This is the funny thing about it. I don't even listen to him more, because see, the delusion in the camp telling him he was winning the fight. That's why he acted that way. They never once, and this is what I said to you. You have to be honest with your fighter in the corner. So you're losing the round, bro. You know, you're letting this guy take over. You know, and there was never no urgency in that corner. And they never had no truth. I'm glad he's with Derek James, because he's gonna tell the truth, because he's a winner. He out and out true winner. He's used to being winner. I remember the first time I heard him when they were talking to Kell Brook at the press conference with Errol Spence, and Dominic Ingle was talking about, yeah, you know, he'd been in there with Golovkin and he done very well against him. And he said, hold a minute, where we come from, we don't talk about big up losing. We don't give losers no credit. And I said, yeah, that's right. And then, you know, they set the tone from them. I don't know why you get talking about Golovkin. You lost the fight. Why are you talking about you've been in there with you lost? You know what I mean? And that's where we come from. We only talk about winning. And I think the mentality, and you see Roberts telling him, you know, you was in there and you were so close. Like $5, you think that fight was close? And then I think Roberts delusion. What do you think?
Yeah. So you gotta listen. Your corner has to be honest with the fighter, and they have to tell, like, look, if you're losing, you're losing, and that's just all there is to it. So if you want to win, then you know we're gonna have to do something different. But you know, I just think, yeah, I think ultimately the problem with Joshua is between his ears. I just don't think he has a fighter's mentality, and I don't think the change to Derek James is really going to be of any consequence because, you know, I don't think Joshua's head is in the game.
Nah, his head's in the game. I tell you what the problem is Joshua try to please too many people too much, man, and he around people, right? Now you gotta remember like this. I'm gonna put it like this, Fight Doctor. Joshua's been stepping on eggshells ever since he got in trouble with the whole drug situation. And he's worried about he's going to lose him because, you know, he's at Team GB. And every time he's down Team GB and he's fighting, even though he's fighting, that's been thrown back in his face. You know, never know, you might go back there. You might lose this, you might lose that. So he had a lot of anxiety, right? So when he fought, he had a lot of anxiety. That's why he used to do weights and stuff like that. Joshua is a bought-out fighter. He loves to fight. Now, his favorite fighter is Mike Tyson, by the way, right? He likes to fight up close and throw hands. My heavyweight was sparring the other day, and Joshua was witnessing that. Joshua jumped up the chair. He was watching it. He was so excited because that's how he likes to fight. You know, oh, that guy is good. You know, he gave my guy heavyweight credit and everything. And I looked at Joshua, and I know that's his favorite fight, but because he's with these other people, what's that guy from GB? What's his name again? Rich. What's his name again? Mike, Thingy McCallum, well, not McCallum, Rob McCracken and them guys there. They told him, nah, I don't want to be like that. You need to box, you need to be this, you need to be that. And he's always kind of pleased other people, but he's never been himself because, again, he was on eggshells from the Prince. So that's what Joshua's always trying to be, you know, trying to be likable. He's trying to be, okay, I'll do whatever people tell me. So he doesn't understand why he's being crit. So you're talking about he don't fight. Yeah, he knows how to fight, but he's just trying to do things to try and appease the people around him. Now, in America, in Texas, you know, and you know, you come around and you realize people don't even like you for the color of your skin. You realize, you start to relax now. You know, he's around a winning camp, man. You know them. You know the Charlos just hang it down. I think one of the Charlos was with him, and he's with Errol Spence. You know them guys just hang loose. They don't care. They're very relaxed. They're very mature. And I'm telling you, you see Joshua, you're gonna see a whole new, different Joshua. Joshua is an absolute savage. And he having them type of people around him, Joshua's gonna work people up because at this point, in terms of building him and building that, he in the right camp. I think another person to go with would probably be Bomac. He's another person with Crawford because these people, they mad confident. You know why they're mad confident? They're used to winning. They're used to winning. When you've been around people used to winning, they give you their aura, their energy. They give you that thing. And where I feel with Robert didn't have that. He's short. He's 5'7". He ain't never been a heavyweight before. He ain't never trained heavyweight before. And the other guy, Angel, he's inexperienced as well. So in your corner has none exist. Where Usyk got his amateur trainers, for he ordered from his amateur career. So when you say Joshua can't fight, I'm like, he's too busy trying to do what they told him to do. And because Joshua does that, he does whatever you tell him to do. That's what he does to fight. That's why Joshua goes, you know, just be honest with me. Tell me if I'm winning or losing. You know what I'm saying? And now that I don't think that what you just listen to Robert, you know, that wasn't conveyed. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, we'll see. It's so yeah. I mean, it can't hurt to be around winners, and I agree. You know, you can absorb some of that winning mentality. Yeah. But I have to question again. In my mind, you're only as good as your last fight. I judge a fighter largely based on what he's done in his last fight. And, you know, Joshua's last two fights told me a lot. But especially his antics and what he revealed in the post-fight of the Usyk rematch. You know, for me, it just confirms some things.
What's that?
Well, when you say that you have not, and what he essentially said amounted to that he did not prepare for a 12-round fight. Like, dude, you are a professional prize fighter at the world-class level. How do you not approach a championship fight ready for 12 rounds? Like, that is literally what you do, what you're supposed to do.
Nah, he trying to say he used to knocking guys out. He likes to go in and knock you out. That's what I'm trying to tell you. They told him not to do that. That's why I say he's been fighting against his instincts to go in there and battle guys out. That's what I'm trying to tell you. They've been telling him, no, don't do that. They want you to box. That's what I'm trying to tell you. And his outburst was because he was lied to in the corner. If I'm lied to in the corner, I think I'd have an outburst like that.
Well, I mean,
they lied to him. They said he was winning. They actually said he was winning the fight.
Yeah, and look, I would be angry too if my corner was lying to me. But look, he should have known better. I mean, he was actually in the fight. He should have known.
Bro, let me tell you something, right? Fight doctor. When you're doing a 12-round fight with a fighter, the fighter doesn't know what day it is, bro. This is as average guys in there. If you get to the 7th round and you go to the fighter and you say, what round is it? Ask the fighter what round is it, or ask them what the minute they won't know what the frigate. All they know is they're in there battling. They're so in it. Their brain, you know, your brain's on a different level. I don't at the level of focus on that thing. You're not even focused about anything else but that guy in front of you. And if you ask them anything else, they're not gonna know anything. So they're not gonna know. They're not gonna know. Like look, you know why I say that? If you look at Oscar De La Hoya and Trinidad, he fought and won the fight. They said let's move around. He actually was going on like it was the last round. I think it was round 8 he started to do that. Was it round 7? Round 7 he started to move around like that, like against Trinidad. From round 7. Like, ask him, he thought he won the fight. You don't see what I'm going to tell you. So, realistically, he got lied to in the corner. That's his outburst was obviously all of that. I'm not a 12-round fighter. I like to think so. He's arguing with his coaches, you're making me fight a way I don't like fighting. But I'm doing it because you told me, and that will make me win, and that will make me think. And that was all the outburst. That was all the upset, and that he got, he felt like he got conned. And the whole team got thrown in the bus like they should have been. They should have thrown that whole team in the bus. But because Joshua was generous, afterwards, I don't care. Get them out of here, and I need to go places where I'm comfortable. I need to go somewhere where they're going to make me be myself. And I think going to Texas and going with Jarrett James and all that will shut all that down. I feel. Another thing as well, I did mention when you're a champion, you defend your belt against guys that you don't want to fight. Joshua never wanted to fight Usyk. He just wanted the Fury fight. The reason why they fought it was because Fury messed them around, and Joshua goes, just give me anyone. All right, Usyk's your next guy. I don't care. I'll fight him. And that's more or less what happened, because if stylistically Fury was a better opponent, it was a better stylistically opponent for Joshua than Usyk. And look, you know why I say that, because Fury doesn't want to fight Usyk. He don't want to fight him. Fury's like, I ain't fighting him either. They avoided him. Fury will fight Ngannou. He'll fight AJ Wilder, and he ain't touching Usyk, because stylistically, a southpaw like that is awkward. You know, funny enough, the only one who wants to fight Usyk is Joe Joyce.
Yeah,
and
I think that would be a very interesting fight.
Yeah, but Usyk doesn't want to fight him because Usyk knows that, this guy, I done him that first time, but Usyk's like, well, I only fight him if he gets himself into the ranking. But this is what boxing is about. As I'm in the sport in regards to the amateurs or pro, I realize the matchups are very, they're hard, right? Because you see the thing is like, if I fight that guy, it's a hard fight. I might not get no credit for it. Why am I fighting him? No. Give me someone else that I could fight and I don't have to think about it. That's what Joshua had with Ruiz. When Joshua fought Ruiz, it was like, no, you just made a mistake. Just box him, you'll win the fight. He's just slow. Just get the biggest round possible. Make sure it's a sunny climate, and we just beat Ruiz. And that's what they did. Joshua just moved around and jabbed him up and just won the fight easy. Yeah. Just took his belts back, and it was easy because he didn't engage. But with Usyk, it's difficult because, and they see the trainers they had no knowledge. Now listen to this. Now let me tell you how. This is how the Joshua's got better. Who's a southpaw? What is Errol Spence? He's a southpaw, right?
Errol Spence is a southpaw.
Okay, then. So you understand what I'm trying to say about how much better it is. he'll tell him how to beat Usyk, show him exactly how to beat him, where to punch, how to punch. If he fights Usyk with Derek James, he beats Usyk. I'm telling you, I'll tell you right now, he beats Usyk.
Yeah, I don't know that I would go that far. And the only reason why I say that is because I think that at this point, Usyk has a huge psychological advantage over Anthony Joshua.
What's that? What's the cycle? Tell me what that is.
Well, so he's beaten him twice.
No, he didn't. He didn't beat that. He beat that version of him. He didn't beat this version.
Well, but we've never seen quote unquote this version of Anthony Joshua.
I can tell you, right, hands down, the version you're gonna see of AJ is probably a bit more riskier and a bit more vicious than you've ever seen before, because they're gonna allow him to be himself. He's gonna be himself, and he's never been that. So that's why people say he looked mentally weak, because no, it's not mentally weak. He's trying to please people. I mean, I've been around him, Like when I talk to him, he thinks about everything before he responds. So when it comes across, it's like, yo, why he don't, you know, like me, you're talking, I say something $5, you respond great. He don't do that because he wants to have the perfect answer, because he don't want to put himself in a bad light. They call it media trained, but it's more or less this. I just don't want to make the wrong step, because this all goes back to when he done the drug dealing thing, whatever, and he made a step and it could have ruined his career. So he had a lot of anxiety. So that when you go Texas and you're just hanging out, you know, I was surprised he has a big afro and shit. He's just laid back. He don't give a fuck. And he said, yo, I'm just going to knock these people out. I'm going to go in and knock these guys out. I'm telling you, bro. The only thing is I say to you, because another thing as well, he did show toughness, yeah, that when you look at the Ruiz knockdowns, he never got stopped on the floor. He never laid on his back, right? He kept on getting up. The only thing is he didn't know what to do, because the corner didn't know what to do. The corner didn't have no answers for him. When he got up, they never had no answers for him. But he kept on getting up. He just got stopped on his feet. He said, all right, cool, you beat me. But then he came back and beat him. That shows mental toughness. First off, you've been knocked. I mean, how many guys you know have been knocked down? I said it like Floyd Patterson, right? Floyd Patterson got knocked down by Ingemar Johansson multiple times. In fact, some of them knockdowns are wicked. I remember Floyd Patterson thought he was going back to the corner. Ingerman just hit him in the back of the head. I mean, Floyd Patterson was he got his ass whooped, bruv. Yeah, in the rematch, he did it, right? Then Floyd Patterson was the first man to become undisputed champion the second time. He knocked out Ingemar Johansson in the rematch. What mental toughness did it show then for him to beat that guy in the rematch? Joshua beat the same guy who he got knocked down in the rematch. So Joshua's mentally tough, man. There's no question about that. The mentally toughness to go back in the ring with a guy knocked you down numerous times and to beat him, that showed toughness. The only thing is, stylistically,
now that's where I have to disagree with you.
Go ahead.
Now, yes, it shows courage and a degree of toughness to get back in the ring with a guy who knocks you out.
Mental toughness. A guy knocked you down. No, not knocked you down. He didn't knock him out. He knocked him down.
But however, Anthony Joshua's display in the rematch, I think, spoke volumes.
No, not really. You got to, because the thing is, if you go near Ruiz and he can land, he can hurt you. Everyone knows that. Joseph Parker knows that. Anyone who fights Ruiz is shown. If Ortiz, anyone, if you stand near Ruiz, he can knock you out. To me, he's very dangerous. He's exceptionally dangerous. So why would you need to engage? Go ahead, I'm listening.
The point that I'm making is this. Anthony Joshua fought a smart fight. However, the question is, did he fight the fight that was most endearing? No. Did he fight the fight that would, in the minds of the public, redeem himself of the knockout loss? No.
I think so.
Look, I mean, at some point, look, you can outbox a guy, yeah? And it's called boxing. It's the art of boxing. And so, in the science of boxing is hit, not get hit. No problem with that. No problem at all. And so it's not a tough man competition. Now I understand that. And it's not that I think he should have stood right in front of Andy Ruiz and traded punches. No. But at some point he should have stood his ground.
Okay. All right. Let me. Okay. I don't want to cut you. Didn't he do that in the first fight? How that end up? He knocked him down though. He did do that. He knocked him down, right?
Yeah.
But in doing that, he got knocked down himself, so that don't work. Fight doctor. So see, this is the thing, right? Let's say we go back to the first fight. He knocks Ruiz down, and Ruiz stays down. You know, that's a great debut. Does he get credit? Nah, he's fat. Look how fat he is. You know, you got him last minute opponent. They would have just said all that shit, right? But Ruiz got off the canvas and put AJ down. So he fought in the manner of what you said. But that doesn't work because you're gambling now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I understand that. And I'm not saying he should have employed the same fight plan from the first fight.
Yeah.
No. He was smart to box and that's what he was supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
But at some point in the fight, you have to take boxing, set it to the side, and fight. Now, I'm not saying you have to fight the whole fight. I'm not saying he should have employed that mentality or that strategy for the entirety of the rematch. But he should have employed it in stretches. Like, okay, guy, all right, look, dude, I'm not going to box for you all night. At some point, I'm going to fight.
Yeah, but who's the champion? Yeah, but again,
I mean, what's the old adage? The old adage is you have to take the titles from the champion.
No, I got you. But the thing is, he was the former champion, and what I'm saying is, Ruiz ain't doing shit. He's just watching you move around, and Joshua was jabbing his head off. So he's like, "Yo, this is working. Why do I need to change?" Remember again, yeah. Like the all of the game is win. No, what you're talking about is what happened to Manuel Stewart. Is trying to be exciting. Trying to be exciting, you end up losing at the end of the night. That's what I'm trying to tell you. And this is now you a safety first approach. I'm gonna do this, and I'm just gonna do what I'm gonna do necessary to win. And that's what you have to do because look at this, right? This is what people didn't realize. He didn't have to fight Ruiz. He could have went back to America. He's supposed to fight Big Baby Miller. That's the guy he trained for. He brought this guy in last minute replacement. This is what I'm saying. Last minute replacement. He got this guy. And it's like, okay, I didn't even train for him, but okay, cool. I'm going to fight the way I normally fight. So Joshua tried to take him out, and he got him down. The guy got him down. The next time I go in, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to box him and win. The only thing is Usyk stylistically, remember, Joshua wasn't supposed to fight Usyk. He was supposed to fight Fury. So they put Usyk in the way. He said, all right, he's your next guy. He's not taking step aside money. Okay, we fight him. Because what Joshua should have did is just vacate the belt. Should have vacated the WBO belt. That's what you should have said. Oh, you ducking him. I thought you want to be undisputed. See, they should have put the narrative about undisputed. She said, no, fuck undisputed. We just want to fight Fury. Because if Joshua vacated that belt like he should have, then the Fury fight would have still happened. Because it was cool. There's no pressure. AJ Fury could have still happened, right?
Yeah, could have still happened.
Yeah, it could have still happened. And you could have got your WBO belt at a later date. Because what you could have did, vacate the WBO belt, let Joe Joyce, the winner of Joe Joyce and Usyk fight for it. They could have fought. Let them beat the shit out of each other. In the meantime, you're still good, right? With your 2 belts, and Fury fight can still happen. That's what he should have did. That's exactly what he should have did. But because they kept spinning that, and this is what I said to them guys, they taught themselves, Eddie Hearn, and they taught themselves into the worst scenario ever. Because you shouldn't be talking. That, my old trainer says to me, he said, yo, best when you're in front of me to keep your mouth shut. And I say to him, why? Because you're going to say something, put yourself in, and now they have something to get against you. You'll put yourself in a situation where someone can say something against you. Right. And you're like, yeah, so that's why you keep your mouth shut. Now, in regards to Joshua, everything he ever did is not been, he didn't have an opponent for months in out. Like every time he's an opponent, like, I don't know, 5 months out, he usually beats them. But with these Eddie Hearn's been putting these, who does that? Like, why is it he's a champion and you give him a week notice and put a guy in a week's notice? You know what I'm saying? A week's notice against this guy. He ain't prepared for this guy. And then, okay, I'll fight him and lose. Then you give another guy, Usyk, he weren't prepared for Usyk. You give him, and then you put him in there with him. Like Eddie Hearn's doing some real bad matchup. Even with Conor Benn, in my liking against Eubank, I mean, what kind of matchups are that? That's foolishness, man. That's some dumb. I never even realized these two could even fight. There was 2 different weight classes. They're not. It's crazy. But Conor Benn, But anyway, I can go. Joshua, in my eyes, under Derek James, I expect a real professional, a real Joshua being himself, and a real relaxed attitude of being around Derek. Him and Derek James will get along well because Derek is an old one of them old masters. Like, he won't get that credit like that. But look at the stable, bruh. winning everything. Errol, where did he? Let me ask you a question. Where Derek James came from before you heard of Charlos or you heard of Errol Spence? You ever heard of him before that?
No.
And look at that. He like one of them old American trainers that they've been around America for years, and all of a sudden he's got two guys that he had from the youngest, and now they're both champions. Let me ask you: do you even see him talk on the media? He don't even talk. No talking.
Yeah, he talks a little bit. I catch, I've caught a couple.
Not much,
of but he doesn't talk a lot. No.
Nah, it's up to the same.
Typically, it's around when one of his fighters is
exactly, and he just keep it like that. Don't really give up. Don't really give up, man. Because I realize as a trainer, when you're out here telling your business, the other trainers say, "Oh, he said this. Okay, this is how he trains. Okay, you see, that's what happens when you keep telling everyone your business. Right. Everyone dissect you because this is what I'm saying about Errol Spence. You see, he ain't never said nothing. Derek James ain't said nothing against Crawford. He just let that whole slide. So, yeah, we get him we get him when we wanna. We'll get him when we're ready. Not when he's ready. You know what I'm saying? He can keep talking when he's talking. We're gonna do what we do. We keep all Errol Spence does, he fights and he goes back to the farm. He chills. He don't care. Right. In fact, yes, you know what I'm saying? Charlo, when it's time to fight, we fight, and I go back to my mansion. I'm gonna go play basketball, hang out with my people. We could. That's it. Keep my nose clean in Texas. You know what I'm saying? You don't hear nothing much. Errol Spence, only because he does a car accident, he drinking and shit, but he needs to behave. But really and truly, over there, they keep it quiet. I think Texas is, Joshua's very religious as well. He's Christian. There's loads of churches around there, so I think he fit in. I think he fit in fine. In over there in Texas, over there, I think he fits right in there like a glove. Over there, because he's very religious and stuff like that. So, I honestly, the perception of Joshua, I think is cultivated from mis ideas. They put him in a light, and he just one of them guys who wants to please everyone. And in doing that, people think he's a robot, he's this, he's that, and he's like, you think what you want. That's the way you're gonna think. You're gonna hate and whatever you're gonna do. But I tell you what, though, if he fights Wilder, he'll beat Wilder though on the next up.
No. Wilder knocks Joshua out.
I don't think
no
so.
question in my mind.
No, not with Thing in the corner. That guy's not a good trainer. He's an okay trainer, but he's not a great trainer. Not with Malik Scott in the shoulder. No. Honestly, Wilder did worse in the third fight than he did in the.
So listen, I think it would be a situation where, if those two were to fight, you would probably see Joshua up on the cards.
With Wilder.
Yes.
Wilder.
But then he gets touched, and then it's over.
No. Wilder will probably be up on the cards. Wilder will be up on the cards. Because Joshua is Wilder. If Wilder, because the way Malik's got him, he's got him boxing. Wilder be just, Wilder be jabbing him up. I think Wilder will probably be taking a couple of rounds in. I think Joshua will come back on the cards. Because look, the funny thing about them two, yeah, they've both been knocked. But Wilder's been knocked out. You know what I mean? Joshua's been knocked down, but Wilder has actually been knocked out, like literally in 2 fights. Is it 2? Yeah, 2. He's been knocked out. Like, the first fight he was on his feet.
Yeah, but here's the difference. Yeah. Wilder's never quit.
He was laying on his back. We mean he quit. He was on his back.
But there's a difference between getting knocked out and quitting.
Well, what Joshua? Well,
Wilder got knocked out.
Yeah.
Joshua quit.
Oh, you talking about when he was in the corner when the referee was talking to him? He quit, right?
Joshua quit.
I don't know about that. I think he was in the corner deciding. The referee goes, "Come step forward," and he was like,
Yeah, he was like, "Yeah, I don't want to do this anymore." That's exactly what he was thinking.
I didn't see that. I didn't see that. Nah, I didn't see that.
The look on his face says it all.
Nah, he was upset, man, when the referee stopped the fight, man. He was like, "Damn, man."
No, I'm talking about before the fight was stopped.
Nah,
if you look at Joshua's face,
I could show you his face. He did listen. Fight doctor. He was pissed off when the fight got pulled off. He got pissed off. Don't try it. He didn't look down. I've seen people quit, right? You remember when Eric Morales got knocked down by Pacquiao?
Yeah,
he was sitting on the canvas.
And that was the third. I think it was the third fight.
Yeah, and he sat on the canvas just looking at the ref with that wide eye.
He quit.
Joshua never had that look. He never had that look. He was like, damn, he never had that. Don't try it. He never had that look, bruh. Don't try it. And you know why he never had that look? Because if that was the case, right, then why did he get back in there with him? Why did he get back in there with him if he didn't want it? Like, you see what I'm saying? See, everything you say, he contradicts. Like, if you think about
here's my argument, right?
Yeah,
here's
ahead.
my argument.
Hey, go ahead.
In that moment, after he had been knocked down, and after he saw that what it would take for him to remain in the fight, and when the referee was standing there in front of him counting,
the
look on Joshua's face tells it all, and that's the reason why the referee stopped the fight. Because first of all, the referee was talking right to him, and he didn't want to answer the ref. He didn't want to follow the ref's commands.
Yeah, I agree.
So
I agree. I agree.
So it's not that he couldn't hear the ref.
Yeah,
and it's not that he couldn't understand what the ref was saying. It's not that he was knocked out of his senses.
Yeah.
He just did not wish to continue.
No. He was thinking, look, when the referee said, come on, are you ready? Come and step forward. He didn't step forward. The referee looked at you, didn't even step forward. The referee called the fight. Man, bear in mind, he'd been knocked down a couple of times. Now, I say to myself, right, he didn't quit, but I don't think in his mind, is like, shit, man, I'm going to work this guy out. And that's why he was thinking in his mind, the referee said, okay, you're not fighting. You don't want to fight. You know what I'm saying?
I think we're in agreement. You just repeated.
That's the argument
I've been making.
No, that's not quitting though, because I'm trying to say to you is like he's thinking of how am I going to work this out, giving him time to think. When I mean quit, it's like quitting is quitting. Like giving him time to think, it's like I'm going to get back in there, but I need a break to think about this.
So
right,
quitting,
that's not the same as like I don't want to fight this guy no more.
Yeah, quitting in my mind is when you decide that you no longer wish to continue in the contest, and my estimation is in that moment, that's the conclusion Joshua had come to, that he no longer wished to engage in the contest.
Well, you know, that's what happened anyway. But this is the thing, right? With Wilder was upset, and he had to go up reeling and got disrespectful. Joshua said, "All right, cool. He beat me fair and square." They had the rematch, right? Wilder had the rematch. Look what happened in both their rematches, bro. One guy won, and you even though that you don't like the manner of the way he won, but he won. The Fury, listen, that rematch is, you know what I'm saying? The rematch, that he got knocked out, bro. See, this is the thing, right? And I'm trying to say, when people been knocked out, that takes a toll over you, bro. So, Joshua's lost twice to one guy. You know what I mean? And that's not good for his confidence. So being in the winning camp will restore some of that confidence that he used to have, making him feel being around undisputed champions, being around Southpaw, being around bro, he's got everything he needs is in that camp. You've got Southpaw training. You've got a trainer who can sit there and mentor you. You've got another Charlo bro who's wild and brash. They be out there telling Joshua, come we do that. Nah, I ain't doing that, bro. Come, man. Yeah, bro, you know what I'm trying to say to you? He's in the right environment where I feel like he can be himself. In the other case, I look at Wilder and I look at Malik. They're into some freaky shit, bro. They're into some freak wearing pink and all kind of mad shit they doing. Fury, he's in a great place. He's got Sugar Hill. He listens to him. I think Fury's got, him and Sugar, they fit very well. Because the Kronk style, they like long, tall fighters with long arms, and it fits very well. I think they're very good. But Usyk's got a good training team around him, so we'll have to see. But in regards to Joshua, a lot of people are harshing him, and you got your opinion about him, and everyone has about his this and that and blah blah blah. And I think people reading it wrong in terms of in the way Joshua prepares himself. And Eddie Hearn saying he's madness. I think Eddie Hearn caused more damage to AJ than anything else, because he should have that Wilder fight should have happened years ago. It should have happened years ago. It should have happened years ago.
Fight should have happened a long time ago.
Yes, Eddie Hearn is a fool, bro. He's a fool. It should have happened years ago.
But we'll see what that
was like the biggest fight. That was like the biggest fight in history. Sky Sports was there. It was all laid up for. It was all chained up. It was easy. It was laid up. They could have had 3 fights already. 3 fights already. Maybe one of them are retired, and it would have been cool. Let's say,
so Joshua's fight is next. 2 weeks from now? When is Anthony Joshua fight?
I don't know. Who's he fighting?
Coming up in? He's coming. The guy who just lost to
Dillian White.
He's fighting that guy.
Yeah, what do you think? I think Joshua knocks him out. Though, what do you think?
Well, I'm gonna reserve judgment. because I'm curious to see what Joshua looks like.
Yeah, Joshua gonna knock him out. He hits too hard, man.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see. But I think perhaps maybe if Joshua can beat this guy, maybe we'll see Joshua Wilder.
Nah, probably not.
Well, so we have Gervonta Davis having gone over to the zone in his next fight.
Yeah.
And apparently Deontay Wilder is not happy with PBC.
No, that's why I say he's talking to probably BT Sports. He's trying to look for the best offer. But you see, with the zone and stuff, he's a free agent. Everyone's gonna leave Al Heyman right now because I mean, when's the next time they go? Is he Showtime? What's Al Heyman? He's PVC, right? When's the last time they gonna put on a show? Like when they gonna put on a show?
So the Benavidez plant.
Yeah, go on. That's Showtime. That's not him.
Well, I mean Showtime, but it's still PVC.
All right, go ahead. So Showtime's PVC?
Yes.
So they got what's the other fight in Showtime? I pull it up. Let me see. I'll pull it up. Right, pull it up. You sure if Showtime's PVC? I thought PVC was PVC. They on Fox. PVC on Fox.
Okay, but see the company that owns like CBS and so in Fox and Showtime, it's all the same company.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Benavidez implant, and they got Benavidez implant, and what else they got out here? Oh yeah, they got Costa Zoo versus Tony Harrison. Tony Harrison PVC, isn't it?
Harrison is a PVC fighter, yeah.
Yeah.
So who's broadcasting that fight? That's a Showtime fight, isn't it?
Yeah, Showtime. That's Showtime.
Yeah. So that's a PVC fight.
Yeah, it's a PVC fight, but they've not been active though that much though, isn't it? The PVC fight.
No, so yeah, they've just been putting on a bunch of pay-per-views and not much else.
Hold on, PVC, okay. PVC is PVC though. This is what I'm saying. Showtime is not PVC. Showtime is Showtime. He might be Al Heyman fighting on Showtime, but that's not PVC. PVC is when you see PVC on Fox. And I'm saying, when's the last time they did a show PVC on Fox? What's going on there? Because they ain't done nothing. I think they had a pay-per-view, but they haven't done nothing.
Yeah, no. So yeah, you haven't seen a lot of PVC on Fox lately. It's been if it's a PVC on Fox fight, it's probably pay-per-view.
Oh yeah, because PVC they were doing a lot of cards. They do a lot of cards, but they ain't really doing too much now. You know what I'm saying? So it's a shame though, because I like Al Heyman when he first came. ESPN, he gave a new look, a new glossy look to boxing. I like the look. He had what's his name again? Keith Thurman and Danny Garcia, all them guys there. Young guys. But you see, I think how some of their careers is. I look at them. How many of them is going to be a Hall of Famer? Like another one as well is Sean Porter. How many of them, the PVC fighters, are actually going to be Hall of Famers when it's all said and done?
Honestly, I can't think of it.
Yeah,
I would say the one who has the best chance right now would be Spence, but he has a lot of work to do to get there.
Spence. I think the Charlo brothers and Spence look like they're going there.
Who?
The Charlo brothers.
I don't know.
I think they got. But listen, the Golovkin fight, that shit needs to happen, bro. Like and the thing is, no one's pushing for it. No media is pushing for Golovkin versus Charlo. Like, why not? You know what I'm saying? Like, why not?
Well,
I don't know why.
I mean, there's a glaring double standard where Bum Lufkin is concerned, and it's amazing how they can go along with this guy. It's amazing how the boxing public, certain segments of the boxing public, have gone along with this charade for as long as it's gone on. And now you have Charlo in the same division, and there's no call from any of the Bum Lufkin nut hugging crowd for the Triple Duck to fight Jamal Charlo. So
you know what? I just really go ahead. Sorry,
but you have to ask the question: why is that?
Yeah, I actually realized
undefeated.
Yeah,
Charlo is undefeated. He has a title. Okay, he's got a belt. And above and beyond that, the WBC mandated this fight a few years back. So why are the Bum Lufkin
100%.
faithful? Why do they not demand that their hero go collect the WBC trinket from Charlo? I don't understand. I mean, I really, I fail to understand the logic here. You know, they were all behind him to fight the Japanese cat who was 16-2. Okay, made a big deal over that fight, all because this guy had a trinket. Yes, all because this guy had some trinket, but the guy was still 16-2. So now you have a middleweight undefeated at the top of the division, and there's no call on the part of the Bum Lufkin faithful for their hero to fight this guy. Why is that?
Yeah, good point. Well, I just realized that Gervonta Davis, he's a PVC fighter. I went on the website right now, so the fight will be on PVC. It'll be on the PVC as well. So even though it'll be on the zone, I think they're doing a joint between PVC and the zone. They're doing a joint. You know, which is
I'm thinking
good.
That fight is probably going to be pay-per-view here in America.
Yeah, it will be. I just realized. I just looked at it now, because I got the schedule right now. So you got Tim Tszyu versus Tony Harrison, good fight. You know what I'm saying? Then you got Benavidez, Caleb Plant. You got some Chris Colburn's back, Jose Vasquez, Cody Crawler. I don't know who that guy's. Abramis. I don't know who that is. Then you got Sebastian Fonfara versus Brian Mendez. I don't know who that is. I don't know who that Brian Mendez is. And then you got Gervonta Davis versus Ryan Garcia. So the PVC is involved in all three of these fights. These are their big fight schedules. You know what I'm saying? No, not really big fights though, to be fair. You know what I'm saying? They're okay. But the PVC, they are involved in these fights here. I think they could make bigger fights. I think if they really wanted to push it, they should have made the Golovkin versus the Charlo. I think that's, you know, I'll make a video on it straight out, because I don't think no one's even talking about that fight.
No. The only people who are talking about that fight are people who are not Bum Lufkin fans.
Well, I talked to Jonathan Banks about it, and he said, "Look, all we do in this fight is who's in front of us. That's how we doing it. Because I just train them. The management decides who they fight. You know, it's Tom Loeffler, isn't it? He's the one. They're the one deciding it. You know what I'm saying? They're the one deciding it. Apparently, have you seen that Submarine? He won the 140 belt, IBF. I think IBF 140 belt over the weekend. He smashed the kid up.
Yeah, I missed it. I missed that fight.
It was a good fight. Regis Progress don't want no part of him, they're saying. Because I think Regis Progress is a champion as well. Jared Hurd got stopped on the weekend as well. You know, but you see him fight.
Yeah, remember we in the back chat we were talking about that. Yeah,
I didn't see it.
Hurd is trash. Okay,
he used to be good though, isn't it? He used to be good though, ain't
it? Yeah, Hurd was always trash. It's just that at 154, you know, he could bully these guys. He's a weight bully. That's all it was. So now he comes up to 160. Employing the same tactics that he was employing at 154, but these guys are bigger and stronger. Okay? So you're a 68 pounder fighting at 54, weight bullying those guys. But the guy that he fought Saturday, guess what he was? He was a 68 pounder coming down to 60. So now you're fighting a guy in your weight class.
Yeah.
But you're employing the same tactics that you were employing when you were fighting 54 pounders. Hurd is trash, okay? And look, when he was in his heyday, if you had been sitting next to me watching his fights, it would have been. I'll tell you what I was saying back then. This guy is trash, and the minute he moves up, he's getting knocked out. That's exactly what happened. Hurd is done. You cannot be. Look. Your defense cannot be eating punches. That can't be your defense. Not if you're going to be at world level for long. It's just not. You can't, you know. So
you're right.
Hurd is trash. It's over with. It's done. He can't make 54 anymore. So it's a wrap. Okay.
Yeah.
Look, all of the top guys at 60, they all sleep on. I promise you. So it's a wrap. He's done.
Did you know that Tim Tszyu is a PVC fighter?
I did not know that.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, the TV. Yeah, he is. So that's why he's on the. You see, they put him underneath the umbrella of the PBC, and whoever wins that fight, they're gonna roll with. I'm just looking at it now. He's a PBC fighter.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm looking at all their fighters. They got their ling. I'm like, yo, they got some names I never heard of, bro. Adrian Broner ain't there no more. They got Demetrius Andrade. They got Chris Ariola, Marius Barrios. They got some names out here. Ranches Bartholomew. Shaheen done nothing for it. Jose Benavides Jr. I mean, what else they got here? They got Adrian Broner's still there. He hasn't moved nowhere. Then Marcus Brown. I used to like Marcus Brown. Andre Berto. Shit, that's a name from the past.
Yeah, blast from the past.
Yeah, John Real Casemiro. They have him. Charlo, both the Charlo brothers. They got that Castillo brother, the one who fought the Charlo. He's underneath their banner as well. Luis Colazo. You remember him from the past?
Luis Colazo. Yeah, he's the guy that
Give Ricky Hatton
Ricky Hatton lifted his 47-pound belt from Colazo. Yeah.
Yeah. They got Nonito Donaire, Andre Jarrell. They got the Jarrell brothers still. I still got Robert Easter Jr., Tom Delorme. Shit, I remember him. Rashi Ellis. You bet, man. What they talking about? You bet Jr. ain't one of their fighters no more. This must be old. But they got Tim Zoo. They must be old. They got all this. What's this? Oh, this is video fight. No, look at this fight. Where's their fighters though? Past fighters. Okay, these are past fights. So maybe okay. So who are their fighters then? Like PVC fighters? Because usually on the website it says fight. But anyway, Fight Doctor. I'm about right now. But you know, we've been on. It's been a great show. Go ahead.
No, I was saying you were cutting out for a second, but go ahead. I got you.
No. I said I was looking on their roster of fighters. I think it was just a video library. I said it's been a great show, Fight Doctor. I really enjoyed it. You know, Conor Benn, we're gonna have to find out what goes forward. But from this point onwards, Conor Benn, you should just submit. It's easy to fight against it, but it's harder to fight against it. Easier just giving. You should just acquiesce and just relax and do what the British ball. When let's get your license and get back to fighting. Last words, Fight Doctor. Go ahead.
Yeah. So Conor Benn, if you're not guilty, then fork over the evidence and call it a day. If you have the evidence that clears your name, hand it over. And if you're not handing over the evidence to clear your name, I think you don't have evidence to clear your name. And that's all there is to it.
100%. Fight Doctor, been a pleasure. Really enjoyed you coming over. Hopefully, this weekend, Jared, heard like your prediction with Heard will come fruition, or mine will in terms of timing. But you know, end of the day, like in the meantime, I'm just gonna keep watching them old time fighters. But you know, boxing is what it is. Thanks very much, Fight Doctor. You take care, brother.
You too, man. And just remember, stick and move. Stick and move.
Yeah. Stick and move. like Biggie Moore said. Take care.
Peace.
So that's Fight Doctor, man. Yo, salute to everyone who came over. Salute to everyone. Hey, you guys, do me a favor. Thumbs up the video. Yeah, me and Fight Doctor was talking some good talk. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. I can't honestly know when I'm going to go live again, depending on how the fights go. But I do know that, you know, when we're here with whoever I'm with, YG, Fight Doctor, Dan the Man, Dwayne, actually, I ain't talked to my man PMC. I should have talked to my man PMC. I ain't talked to my man PMC for a while. Yeah, see how he's doing, whatever. And all the other guys in the chat, I really appreciate your contribution to the boxing conversation. Hope you liked, if you liked it, thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already. Share the video around to let other people see what they have to say about Conor Benn. No, not really trying to disrespect Conor Benn or anything like that. But I think Eddie Hearn, he ain't good for you, man. Eddie, because Eddie Hearn is what you call a Teflon Don. Anything he does, he don't get blamed for it. It's always someone else. And Conor Benn, unfortunately, is a pawn in the game of chess. I'm EJ Boxing Live. I will catch you on the next one. Peace.